Love It Football is brought to you by the Love It Linebackers, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the steak dinner done right, Center State Bank, bank smart, bank local, Melwood Springs Natural Spring Water, Atlantic Grill, your neighborhood grill, Play It Again Sports Buckhead, your neighborhood sporting goods store, Concord Pharmacy, when you have your health, you have everything. The Metro Atlanta YMCA, here for Atlanta, here for good. And by ESC Networks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Love It Network broadcast of Lions football. Thank you for joining us tonight at Avondale Stadium, site of tonight's showdown between 3-2 Love It Lions versus the 1-4 Towers Titans. We're pretty appreciative of the fact that the sun has gone down and the temperature has dropped a little bit, and we're getting excited for tonight's game.
So, I was just thinking, you know, at the Riverbank, we're pretty spoiled with the air conditioning we get up here. So, I mean, it is true, we are pretty lucky that the sun has gone down. It's lucky for the players, too. It's turf field. You know, those little turf beads, they really get the heat going.
Sure, it'll be a change for the team for sure, adjusting from the grass surface to the turf. But since the boys practice on Rayleigh, which is a turf surface, I think they should be in pretty good shape and familiar with the surface.
And for those viewers at home, just in case you didn't recognize us, my name is Bennett Kallenbergs.
My name is Ted Gilbreth.
We're the new commentators for today. I'm color commentator, and Ted is doing play-by-play.
We'll take a brief pause as they play the national anthem here at Avondale Stadium.
Well, you can tell after that, the Claret is ready for a game of Friday Night Football.
Right, I think crowd might be a little bit generous, Bennett.
You might be right about that one.
But I'm sure that everyone here will enjoy a great game of football. This is the second game in region play for both teams, and both squads are coming off a loss. In the early portion of the season, Lovett's had the better of things with a 3-2 record, whereas Towers has struggled at 1-4 and is coming off a significant loss to Westminster last week.
Yeah, and they also lost to Columbia 73-0 earlier in the season. So we should see what the Lions are going to bring up for us tonight.
Right, and there'll be some youngsters pressed into service tonight. Several of the starting cornerbacks for Lovett are out, Colin Goldberg and Andrew Pinkston. So we'll see the quality of the depth chart and see if that's something that the Towers team goes after. The Lions are in there traveling all whites with blue helmets, and Towers is in the, would you call that maroon, Bennett, or cardinal? A crimson, perhaps?
I think I'd go with crimson for that.
Yeah, crimson,
you know?
I think it sounds the most intimidating. So if I were them, I'd opt for crimson for sure.
Yeah. You know, props to all the Love supporters come out tonight. It's a pretty long drive from the Riverbank.
It was, especially in that Atlanta traffic.
So we do have a couple injuries on the squad tonight. We have Colin Goldberg, he's out. Andrew Pinkston is out. Grant Turner, I've heard, is out with a broken hand. So we are, as Ted said earlier, we're going to see the depth of this Levitt team. Andrew Pinkston, you'll remember from the GAC game, had an incredible block off the kick that won us the game. So he'll be sorely missed tonight.
Right, and I think Colin Goldberg's absence can't be understated as well. I mean, he's a very athletic kid with a high IQ who makes a lot of plays on both offense and defense.
All right, so we're going to go to Katie Freiberger on the sideline here for us.
In 8 minutes, and we're watching Towers versus our Lovett Lions. We're ready for a great night of football. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Katie. So the Lions are getting ready to run through the banner held by the cheerleaders. Always an exciting moment at the start of the game. What are your expectations for tonight's game, Bennett?
You know, I'm looking at the Towers Titans, their record, and I'm looking at ours. And, you know, Westminster beat them last week 51-6. So I think Muschamp, if we can get a good lead going in the first half, he's going to start bringing in the youngsters and the ones who don't play so much during the regular season. But there's still a whole game of football to play, so we'll still see.
Right, and I doubt that Coach Muschamp would have been sharing that message with the team, as I'm sure he wants them focused and ready and worried about playing as well as they can and not about either team's record.
Yeah, we're having a good season so far. Last week we played Cedar Grove, and, you know, they won the championship a couple times. And we were leading close to the end of the first half there with the Lions playing a really good game. So you can see how far we're going to try to get in the playoffs this season.
Right, the Lions played an exceptionally smart game, especially in the first half, and I think there were some errors, and an exceptionally athletic Cedar Grove team was able to take advantage of that and might have outlasted the Lions a little bit in the second half. But you can trust Coach Muschamp and Coach Greer and Coach Moak and the team to have a great game plan and the kids to execute it with discipline. I think back to that GAC game and a terrific opening drive and the number of times that quarterback Blaine McAllister was able to draw GAC off sides with a hard snap count. It's those sorts of things that I think are Muschamp's calling card, and we can expect to see tonight. Even if he, anticipating that it might not be the most competitive game, goes with a more vanilla game plan, I'm certain there's stuff that he'll want to be working on that he feels like he can accomplish today.
And so we're getting a little scouting report from the Towers Titans. So their quarterback, Isaiah, let me get this for you. Isaiah Logan he's a running quarterback. So the Lovett's going to have to watch out for that. And they're, I don't know how to say that, but they're got to look for screens tonight.
Right, and I think that one of Logan's favorite targets is number 5, Khalil White, a senior wide receiver. And given the Lions' injuries at cornerback, that might pose a problem. So it'll be interesting to see if Lovett plays a little more zone or rolls some safeties over to help, or potentially is more aggressive at the line of scrimmage trying to jam a receiver before they can get open. But that's probably the principal concern of Coach Greer tonight as he schemes up a defense for these Towers Titans.
So we got our lineups for today's game, starting off with our defensive line. Junior Luke Wall, defensive end. We have junior Wells Camerson. We have senior Carter McIntosh, defensive end. For our linebackers for today's game, we have freshman Jack Anderson Beaver. We have senior Mike Valls as Mike. We have sophomore Stevie Bracey as Ghost. We have senior Cole Peiswitz as Sam. And we have senior Jack Peter Wyndham. And keep in mind, this is Coach Muschamp's terminology. We have sophomore Chase Nally. We have senior Wade Shepard. And we have junior Alex Camillo as our defensive backs for today's game. On our offensive line, we have sophomore Will Stemmel as our left tackle. We have senior Cal Barwis as our left guard. We have senior Dobbs Davey as our center. Senior Tebow Brooks as right guard. And senior Luke Wall as right tackle. For our offensive backfield for today's game, we have senior Mike Valls as fullback. We have senior Henry Berry as tailback. And we have senior Blaine McAllister as quarterback. Receivers for today's game, we have junior Jay Joshi. We have sophomore Stevie Bracey as tail end. We have sophomore Logan Givens as wide receiver. Our specialists for today's game, we have punter Dobbs Davy as a senior. We have sophomore Stevie Bracey as long snapper. We have senior Henry Beery as place kicker. We have junior Charlie Caldwell as short snapper, and we have senior John Russ as holding.
All right, and here come the captains for both teams as we wait for the coin toss. For Towers, the captains look like quarterback Isaiah Logan. David Roberts, an offensive lineman and a defensive lineman. Sean Taylor, the aforementioned wide receiver, and Khalil White, another wide receiver.
Our captains for Levitt tonight are Blaine McAllister, Luke Wall, Carter McIntosh, and Cal Barwis.
For your Towers Titans, it's number 7, Isaiah Logan. Number 56, David Roberts. Number 4, Sean Taylor. Number 5, Khalil.
As we wait for the coin toss, it's interesting to think about how prepared the Lions will feel for this game. I'm sure tactically they'll be well prepared, but it's a bit of a departure as it's the latest start that we've had for an away game. So they've yet to develop their visiting team routine for a 7:30 p.m. start. I'm sure it's something that most of the staff or the team has dealt with, but it is just one of the wrinkles for tonight's game.
And you are going to wonder how they're going to come off last week's game against Cedar Grove. That was a fast-paced game, tough team. So we're going to see if we can start this game with that same intensity, I'm thinking.
Right, I think that'll be key, to set the tone, to not be complacent, and to come out and try to be the aggressor from the opening moments of the game.
So our weather and field conditions tonight, we're looking at around 90 degrees. Field, it's got a slight breeze from the north, about 5 miles per hour. So overall, it's a good night for the Lions to play a game of football.
Right, Bennett, I think you're an optimist about that breeze. I'm not sure I'm aware of it.
Hey, we're not down on the field there, Ted.
That's true.
Official time is 7:27 p.m. And we'd like to thank Ruth's Chris Steakhouse for sponsoring our pregame segment.
All right, it looks like Lovett will be receiving to start the game.
Towers has won the toss and deferred.
As Towers has won the toss and deferred.
And they go through their obligatory handshakes and off to the races. About 45 seconds till kickoff. And here come the Lions.
Here come the Lions. It'll be really important, as you said, Bennett, that they get off to a great start, that they play with confidence, and that those youngsters who are pressed into service early account themselves pretty well.
Yeah, Musham's really going to want to see how we're going to be setting up for these region games. He wants to get that confidence going with the team. And I'm sure tonight will be no different than the last few games we've seen.
Right, absolutely.
And here come the Crimson of, did we say Crimson?
Yeah, we've landed on Crimson, and we're both comfortable with it, so we'll stick there.
All right, Crimson of the Towers Titans.
Right. If this were a daytime kickoff, I'd say we had the advantage in the white road uniforms, but I think that's pretty much a moot point as we're playing in the dark here.
And, as you said earlier, I said crowd. I mean, it's starting to fill up a little bit more.
You're right, you're right.
The parents, the fans are starting to come in.
It's interesting. I would say that we are definitely tilted in the favor of the Towers Titans, but there is a loyal Lovett contingent that I'm sure are going to cheer their hearts out for the Lions.
Yep.
And what we lack in sheer volume, I'm sure Rachel Chow and her varsity cheerleaders will make up for with their enthusiasm and energy.
Yeah, you see them every game. They don't take breaks, do they, down there?
No, they don't. And they work hard. I think especially with their stunting coach, they've been putting a lot of effort in and have developed some new things, and it's pretty exciting to watch. All right, as Towers is getting set to kick off. We have Henry Beery back to receive, and I can't quite make out the number of the other player. I've got the wrong angle. We'll get you that information as soon as he reveals himself. The Towers Titans are starting in a track sprinter stance to get going, which is interesting. You don't see that all the time. The kick is short. Initially, it looked like it was going to go out of bounds, but oh, and they called it out of bounds. It was clearly out of bounds.
I believe other receiver you see down there was Anderson Beaver, number 35, freshman.
Right, that makes sense.
He's been starting these past few games. I actually have history class with him, and it's kind of cool to see how a freshman can just go right into the starting lineup of the Lovett Lions.
Does he seem to be a history enthusiast?
You know, he seems interested.
Yeah.
He's got some insightful comments, I would say, during class.
Great. So that a true student athlete. All right. So the ball's at the 35, right? Lions are in the shotgun. All right. McAllister sets a receiver in motion. Okay. It's a handoff. All right. And then we turn the corner. That's a nice way to start the game. Okay. Beery takes the ball almost to a first down. He's out by the 48, maybe 49. That's a great start to the game. Looks like we'll be 2nd and 2.
And this is really going to test how the Lions are going to get with their first drive here.
Right, well, it'll definitely set the tone. Oh, I think I oversold the accomplishment on that last run. They're saying it first. Another big run. That's the start the Lions wanted. All right. Henry Beery takes it again, outside tackle, and this time for a long run.
And you know what, Ted? There's a flag on the play. I'm struggling to see what that's for. Maybe holding, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I didn't see who threw it. That's usually the telltale indicator of what the foul's going to be. No, it looks like it was on the end of the play versus Towers. So adding sort of insult to injury, they give up a long run and the foul at the end of the play.
And, you know, that's just what we were saying right before that play happened. We're going to see the intensity. And they got all the blocks right, and he just ran right through.
Right. Well, hopefully they'll keep the momentum going. Those are two great runs, and it's a really positive start for the Lions. So it looks like it's going to be 1st and 10 with the ball on the 12-yard line. Lions are going to go trips left with McAllister in the backfield in the shotgun. All right, it's a keeper. McAllister's going to call his own number, and he's in. Touchdown. That's a play Mike Muschamp's not afraid to go to. You see that a lot, and to great effect. So I think spread them out, send the 3 wide receivers to the other side, and that'll open up a little space for Blaine, who has proven himself to be a pretty sure runner over the course of the beginning of the season.
Yeah, we were talking before the game about how Towers Titans quarterback Isaiah Logan, he's a runner, but we forgot to mention Blaine McAllister. He runs like he's good at it.
Right. So here's a Lovett extra point team. Looks like we might not have been communicating there as well as we could, as there's a late substitution. And Lovett's run some trick plays out of that formation, but opt not to this time and go with a straightforward kick. Right, and there's Beery again. All right, so a couple of big runs and the extra point. And with 11:37 left to play in the first quarter, it's Lovett 7 and the Towers Titans 0. School is back in session, and the Lovett Lions, and the Lovett campus store is fully stocked with brand new Lovett Spirit gear, gifts, and supplies. Their prices are always lower than retail. There is no sales tax, and all proceeds go back to the school. You will never lose when you shop at the campus store. Open Monday to Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. What'd you think of that first drive, Bennett, as the Lions get ready to kick off?
You know, it was almost blinding with how fast it was. Yeah, it was 3 plays, was it? I think it was 3 plays.
Yeah.
And I think they really just want to get the game, like, going.
Right. So as Lovett's set to kick off, it looks like we have number 5, Khalil White, back, and the returner on the near side appears to be number 4, Shun Taylor. All right. So the kick is up, And we got all of that. That's a great kick. It's fielded on the goal line, and he's going to take it. Oh, and there's a pitch. All right. That's Khalil White, and he's their guy, right? And so that takes some courage there to make that play, but they went for it. Unfortunately, the Lions sniffed it out and were there to stop him.
Yeah, it looks like he was taken out about the 23-yard line, it seems to me.
Looks like that's where we're going to start. One of the things that I've been struck by in the early season is that, for the most part, the Lions are pretty sure tacklers, and they're not willing to stick their nose in. And oftentimes against some bigger teams, they've put themselves in a position to make a play. Their form's really good. They drive their legs and are successful. Lovett's going to start with a 3-man front here, all right? And Towers is in the shotgun with 2 receivers on either side. They drop back, and they're already going long, testing those Lovett reserve cornerbacks. And at this first time, Anderson Beaver comes up with a big play. So they were looking for an advantage, and he was able to take care of it.
We're looking at a replay on the breakup pass there from Anderson Beaver.
Right. Initially, he's beat, but he sticks with it and gets his hand up and makes a good play. All right, so Towers is back in that set again, almost a spread set with 2 wide receivers to either side and a back next to the quarterback in the shotgun. Lovett still in a 3-man front. Okay, they drop back to throw again, and oh, Lovett gets a couple guys clear, right? And that looks like Lovett sends a couple of blitzers, and Stevie Bracey seems to be the first guy to the ball and makes a sure tackle. So that's going to back the Titans up. All right, so the ball's on the 15, the ball's on the 23rd, and it's 3rd and 15. 10:52 to play, right? And now we're trips left for Towers. Looks like they're going to go for the big play. Nope, it's a screen, so 2 of the receivers are blockers, but Lovett sniffs it out, right? The ball's on the ground, and Lovett picks it up, but you got to assume they're going to rule that the ground caused the fumble there.
Yeah, I think the refs are going to call that one back.
But the first defensive stand was as good as the first offensive one. Lovett forces the 3 and out, and it looks like Towers is going to punt.
Yeah, and you see these Lovett guys in the weight room every day. So, you know, that's how they really gain their advantage when you say they're driving their legs into them and the bigger guys out there.
Right, and that's a credit to Coach Peduzzi and his staff in the Murray Athletic Center, who put in a lot of time with these guys and have them in pretty good shape. Oh, and that's a messy snap for that first punt. It's got to be fielded off the ground, but he still makes a pretty good effort on it there.
Yeah, it's going all the way back.
He's going to let it go.
Line drive punt by Monty. That will set the Lions first and 10.
All right, and Blaine McAllister is going to bring the Lions out for their second drive of the game. You wonder if they're going to feel compelled to do anything different or if they're going to try that right side again. They've had a lot of luck with it early.
You know, I think they might go for a couple plays with the right side. If it doesn't work out, I think they're going to switch it up. But, I mean, if you have it going, why not keep it?
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the Lions are going to huddle up, and we'll see if Towers tries to do anything different, either with their front or bringing some pressure to one side. All right, it looks like Lovett's in the pistol this time with twins to the left. So a slightly different formation than we saw in the first drive. And a slightly different look. We're still running the ball, and we're still running the ball with great effect. So that's Beery again, and he just did not want to go down. This time right over the left guard.
We got a replay here on the screen. You know, he's just breaking through those tackles.
Right, makes a nice jump cut there. Right, keeps his leg going, and I think you just referenced the leg drive on defense. There, we're seeing it on offense. All right, Lovett's back to the line quickly here, and now they're in the shotgun, and it's their turn to spread the defense out. As they've got a single receiver to the left and 2 receivers to the right. And there we go. We talked about the snap count at the beginning of the game. It looked like they might have tried to get them there. Not sure who that foul was on. Did you get a look at who jumped?
No, I didn't, but I've been seeing these past few weeks. The Lions are good at that. I mean, like every play, especially Cedar Grove, you catch them going off sides a lot.
Right, and they always say that you need a smart quarterback to do that. And I guess if we've got one going to Princeton, you've got to figure we've got a guy who can pull that off. All right, Lovett's back to the line and back in the shotgun with 2 receivers to the right. And again, we're going to give the ball to Beery. And again, he's going to have a big run. Oh, looks like the ball might have come loose there. But again, it looks like the umpire's ruling that Beery was down, and hence not a fumble.
And, you know, even though with the couple of injuries today, you still have a couple star players out there. You have Henry Beery. And you see him, he's a constant in every game for the Lions.
Right, and I think all of the coaches will have been preaching a next man up mentality all week. So these guys will be ready. And even the guys who aren't starters are putting in an effort to be prepared when the game comes around. So this really is an opportunity for someone to make a statement to Coach Muschamp that maybe they need some more playing time. Lovett's in the shotgun again, all right, with 4 wide. And again, they continue to run the ball with great effect. And with 8:22 left to play in the first quarter, Lovett is moving the chains again.
And you know, this running game is working so far for the Lions. I don't think they're going to change it up anytime soon. How about you?
I don't know why they would. I think it sort of puts the onus on the Towers defensive coordinator to try to do something different and maybe just pack the box. Lovett's in the shotgun again with 2 receivers to the left, a single receiver to the right. And again, the ref is throwing a little laundry on the field. And it seems like Towers was offsides. I don't know if they lined up offsides or if they jumped.
No, he jumped. I saw him.
Good eye, Bennett.
Yep. Thank you, Ted.
Sure. All right, so this Lions are doing a great job moving the ball with equal parts running of Beery and a lack of discipline on the part of the Titans. So it looks like a similar formation, again, with McAllister in the shotgun and 2 receivers to the left, a single receiver to the right. And it looks like the official is warning the Towers band because they're playing as Lovett has the ball on offense. That will please Associate Athletic Director Mike Harner, who keeps a vigilant eye for that at Lovett when we're hosting games. So I'm sure if he's watching, he's smiling, seeing the official do such a bang-up job. Back in the shotgun, McAllister gets the ball, surveys the field, and and goes for a screen pass. Have they blown the whistle? That's a live ball, right? They're calling that pass a lateral. They don't put it on the ground. Towers picks it up and returns the ball for a touchdown.
Hey, we're seeing. Never mind. We thought we were about to get a replay on there. It didn't look to me like he had full control of the ball when he dropped it. Or was it a lateral?
Right. I mean, that's the tough part. If we get a replay, we can look. But every time you throw that pass, if it becomes a lateral, it's a live ball. So here comes the replay. That's tough to call. That looks like it's a forward pass, but if it is, it's incremental. And it's number 5, Khalil White, who we worried about as an offensive threat, scoring with the fumble recovery and touchdown. So despite the early success, the Lions find themselves in a tough spot. Oh! But the kick is blocked by Lovett. It looked like Aiden Camillo got in there and blocked the kick.
You know what was surprising me, Ted? After we got that overhead announcement about the band playing while Lovett was trying to get their game going, they continued to play down there. So I don't know if that had any effect on what was going on, but it's just interesting to me.
Right. Well, I think it's when we have the ball on offense. So when the other team has the ball, they could do that potentially, or if it was afterwards. So I didn't pay attention to whether they were playing initially. I think they stopped. But it'll be interesting to see what happens, whether they keep that up. So a second positive drive by the Lovett Lions stalls when a little swing pass is called a lateral and poorly handled and scooped up by Towers, who takes it to the house for 6 points. All right, so Lovett is back to receive. And it looks again like we're going to have Henry Beery and Anderson Beaver back to receive. Lovett seems to have a lot of success this year with blocking those extra point attempts. Of course, there were the big ones versus GAC in the opener that essentially sealed the win in overtime. Yep. So Beery receives the ball and advances it out to the 30-yard line, which is pretty decent starting position for the Lovett Lions. And McAllister's going to lead them out on the field again. I think the trick for Lovett here is to put that negative play behind them and focus on what they need to do.
Yeah, you know Muschamp's not going to like the fact that I could say they got a little complacent during that play. You know, we went up early.
Well, I'm not sure if we got complacent, but you are 100% right that Coach Muschamp is not going to like that. So here we are in that empty backfield again with just McAllister in the shotgun, and he's going to put Beery in motion again, now in more of a traditional shotgun look. And it's Beery again over the right tackle. And again, it looks like a great look for the Lions. And it seems like he's run it out to the 40, and it appears like yet again he's got a first down. So that's a great positive first play after the turnover to get some positive momentum going for the Lions. Lovett looks to the sideline for the play call and then hurries to the line. There's been some variety in formations, and now we've got McAllister under center. This might be for the first time today. All right, and again, it's sort of a delayed look, but another run up the middle, and it's a pretty good effect again. That looks like a 6-yard pickup to me.
Yeah, I'd say it's about 6 yards. But you'd think the Lions are just going to keep driving forward, running with the ball here. I mean, it keeps working for them.
Right, and you wonder if that turnover would underscore the importance of ball security and maybe keeping it simple and just erring on the side of grinding it out as opposed to taking some chances that could potentially expose them. So McAllister lines up in the shotgun again. It looks like an even front for the Titans. Twins to the right, and that's where McAllister's going to look. So just when I talked about being cautious, he rolls to the right and fires the ball downfield. And it looks like that was Garrett Kelly with the reception. So it's play action, fakes the handoff, right, and throws the ball downfield. I may have had that number wrong.
I don't fault you for that one, Ted. I mean, it's hard to see out
That's
here.
the far side of the field.
Yeah, it's pretty
Our
far.
perch is on the other side of the field from the Lovett Lions. So here we go again, and yet again, it's another formation. We've got the Lions in the pistol, again, with the ball on the 40-yard line, and another run up the middle. All right, that one looked like it was going to go. Credit to Ahmad Perkins of Towers for running that one down because there was a lot of real estate in front of the Lovett player. All right, so that's going to make it 2nd and 3 with the ball on the 33 with 5:37 to play in the first quarter. Lovett huddles up. Interesting to see what formation they come to here, and it's the pistol again with one receiver to either side. This might be a 2 tight end set. Nope, incorrect. I have bad information. Another run over that right side and lots of space and another Lion first down.
Oh, that looked like number 29, Michael Hollingsworth, who ran right through the gap right there.
Right, and I think you've got to give credit to Tebow Brooks and Luke Wall for the job they're doing on the right side of that line. They are just manhandling people and creating some pretty big running lanes for the Lovett backs to take advantage of. All right, McAllister by himself in the shotgun again. All right, it looks like the ball is on the 21, and it's 1st and 10. Beery goes in motion. McAllister keeps it, looks over the middle, and it's a touchdown. That was a well-designed play, a little misdirection there. I think with Lovett's success running the ball, they were all looking at Beery, and that created an opening for Charlie Hoke, and McAllister throws a beautiful pass and finds him in the end zone.
And we have the replay going on. McAllister throws it. Looks like number 15. That would be Charlie Hoke with the catch.
Yeah. All right, Lovett's going to line up for the extra point again. All right, and once again, Lovett shows that sort of swinging gate look to see how the other team's going to line up, and we've seen them run 2-point conversion plays out of that this season. But once again, they just go for a straightforward conversion, and it's up and it's good. And the Lions respond in brilliant fashion to that turnover and score by marching the length of the field and punching another one in. And we are 14-6 Lovett Lions with 4:48 left to play in the first quarter.
The Lovett Parent Association is the organization dedicated to promoting volunteer interest among parents in support of the school and engaging in activities promoting the enrichment of all students, faculty, and staff.
Bennett,
There are many opportunities, small and large, for you to make a positive impact. Visit the Lovett website to become involved with the LPA today.
Well, I clearly demonstrated my lack of professionalism by stepping all over your read there, Bennett, and I apologize for that.
Hey, it's our first time together. I mean, it's fine.
That's true.
You know what? We got to build chemistry.
Any update on the Braves?
You know, I'm going to check that one right for you right now. I got
That
you.
might be a good opportunity. I think we might have some interested fans. All right, so as Lovett prepares to kick off, once again, it looks like Isaiah Logan and Khalil White are deep to receive for Towers. On their first drive, even though it was a while ago, the Titans seemed pretty determined to try to throw the ball. So it'll be interesting to see if they come back to that look again or if they try to mix in a little more variety. By the third possession, it seemed like Lovett was expecting it and was just sending pressure in the form of blitzers. That's another really impressive run. Isaiah Logan eludes a few tacklers on that play. And he's forced back inside. And ultimately, it looks like it was potentially Ritter Wyndham, the linebacker, who ran him down.
With the break in the play, I'd like to announce that the Braves won against the Cardinals tonight, 3-0. Final
Excellent.
score.
That's great work.
And middle school teacher Jeremy Oliver has just messaged me saying to fix your face. So thank you, Mr. Oliver, for that. Thinking of you.
I think he's still bitter last week as his Terrapins took a terrific walloping by the Penn State Nittany Lions. They were anticipating that this might have been a resurgence of sorts for the Maryland Terrapins, and Penn State promptly let them know where they belong in the Big Ten football pecking order. And I think that was a tough pill for Mr. Oliver to swallow. So while his comments were mean-spirited towards you, Bennett, I think we can understand where they're coming from. Lovett with a three-man front again, and Towers in the shotgun again with two receivers to either side. Oh, and the receiver gets open, finds a little bit of space there, and I think you could expect that a reserve defensive back might play a little more cautiously and give him space to curl back for the ball, and in that situation, they certainly took advantage of it. So Towers with their first down of the game now has the ball 1st and 10 on the 45 with 4:19 left to play in the first half. Lovett's going to stay in their three-man front, and Towers is going to stay in their shotgun spread. Oh, and this time Towers is going to run the ball. Oh, misdirection play. The quarterback kept it, and he had everybody fooled, including this guy, as he took it over the left side for another first down.
Yeah, it was a good job by Ritter Wyndham to get past his man there on the block, and you'll see in the replay right here.
Right. Yeah, Ritter does a really good job, or there's a ton of real estate out there in front of him as well. Towers is quick to the line again, and again they're going to stay in that same shotgun spread formation. All right, it is 1st and 10 on the 35. And again, they're going to put it up. They're into double coverage, right? And that ball was well defended by the Lovett Lions. It looked like Anderson Beaver was over there, as well as Alex Camillo. And you could see their confidence that Towers has in Khalil White. They just threw that ball up in spite of double coverage.
Yeah, he's their star wide receiver, and I think we're going to see how far he's going to go this season.
Right.
But he's already racking up the numbers.
And again, they're staying with their shotgun spread formation. This is pretty consistent on the part of both teams on these defensive possessions. Oh, Luke Wall almost with the sack, and they forced the quarterback to the outside, and he's scrambling, and that ball was very well defended by Chase Nally.
And we apologize for any audio issues you might be hearing with the band playing right next to us. We have no control over that.
you have to commend Camillo there for sticking with that play. It took a long time to develop, and he had to cover that receiver across the middle of the field, and he did a great job and was there when that ball arrived. It's interesting to see the different approaches, whereas Towers has had just the single formation for much of the game, whereas Muschamp's offense has been changing formation almost every snap.
Well,
Oh, and now, just as I said it, we've got a different look. And here's Towers with trips right. But evidently the Towers coach didn't like what he saw because now he's calling a timeout. So that gives us a chance.
Lovett's True Blue Annual Fund raises close to $3 million on an annual basis to support the school's most immediate needs. We rely on the support of our entire Lovett community to meet our fundraising goals and provide every Lovett student with the highest quality education possible. Thank you for being True Blue.
All right, with 3:30 left to play in the first quarter, the score is 14-6. It's 3rd down and 10 with the ball on the 35. And Towers has had a nice little drive going. Not sure what their coach saw in that had him feeling compelled to take a timeout. But he's given an opportunity for Coach Muschamp and his staff to think about doing something different defensively. And they're going to come back with the exact same look. So that trips right that they showed before the timeout is what they're come back with. And it looks like Lovett is going to send some heat. Both linebackers are at the line and showing blitz, right? And there it is. They're going to try to run the ball, and Lovett will have none of it. They sniffed that out immediately and drove him back 6 or 7 yards. That's great tackling by Lovett. That's not the play you want to run when you come out of a timeout.
And, you know, you're commenting, Ted, on Coach Muschamp's different formations that he keeps coming out with. And I think it's try to keep Towers guessing, you know, see what's going on.
Definitely, and he seems to be doing a good job. So 2:51 to play in the first quarter, and it is 4th down with the ball on the 14. I'm sorry, the ball on the 37. 4th and 14 with the ball on the 37. And Towers opts to try to pooch punt, right? And it is fielded at about the 22 by Anderson Beaver, who was everywhere on this drive.
Yeah, he's a freshman you see game in, game out. And it's interesting to me how he works his way into the first team and how effective he is at what he does.
Yeah, I think that's the benefit of going to a small school. If you're athletic enough and if you're willing to do the work, there's an opportunity to play. Potentially earlier than Coach Muschamp would like, because you wonder about freshmen and how much experience they have and whether they're up for the rigors of varsity football, especially varsity football in a state like Georgia. So with 2:35 to play in the first quarter, it's 1st and 10 with the ball on the 24. And Lovett's going to come out in a shotgun with twins left. All right, and again, it's a run, but this time it's over the left side. And again, there's a lot of space. And again, the Lovett back is going to keep his legs churning, and he's going to reel off a big gain. And that's Beery again. And he's out to near the 45.
You see the replay here. He just keeps chugging those legs, doesn't he?
Right, the line is doing a terrific job, but there is just no quit in Henry Beery. Once he gets going, he's driving his legs, he's falling forward, and I know that Coach Muschamp will like the fact that he's got both arms on the ball and he's protecting it from getting punched out. Here's Lovett in the shotgun again with twins right, and McAllister's going to roll out, and he's looking downfield again, doesn't have it, right, almost is sacked, has to try to get away, and he opts for his check down right at the 50, and it looks like it's a reception out of bounds. So that should bring up 2nd and 5 with the ball on the 50 and 1:58 to play. By nature of stepping out of bounds, he will have stopped the clock.
That was a good step by Blake McAllister there. You see those two Towers defense coming right at him. He just steps right past him.
Right, Blaine's got a great pocket presence and does a good job keeping the play alive. And even when they're sort of monstrous defensive ends trying to rip his head off, he seems able to elude him, and he doesn't panic and keeps his eyes upfield and is able to find those check down receivers and does a terrific job. Now, this looks like a 2 tight end set, and McAllister was under center. But again, right, it's going to be a run. And it's Beery again, and this time he rattles off another big run and opts to jump out of bounds. Here's hoping they've got a lot of water for Beery on the sideline as he's putting in yeoman's work on this opening quarter.
You know, as you're saying that, I'm having a drink myself, and I'm just standing here talking. Still quite humid.
Yep. So the clock should have stopped when the ball went out of bounds, and they reset the chains. 1:33 to play. It's 1st and 10 with the ball on the 25. Lovett's coming to the line, and McAllister's under center again. Now, another formation. We're in the I formation with a receiver to either side. And it looks like McAllister's trying to put a lot more people on the line to make a play. And this time it works as a player, number 1, who's not on our numerical roster, provided by the Towers Athletic Department, makes a play. And hits a receiver in the backfield. That's probably, aside from the scoring play, the most positive play Towers has had on defense tonight. So now the clock is running. There's 1:08 left in the first quarter. It'll be 2nd and 15 with the ball in the 30. Now McAllister's going to set up in the shotgun with trips right. It looks like he's going for the hard count, trying to get him to bump. And again, it's a run. And this time McAllister calls his own number. And he's going to pick up 6 or 7 yards, he's going to pick up close to 10 yards, maybe more, on that 2nd and 15 play. Now Lovett's probably going to be content to let the clock run down a little bit as we approach the end of the first quarter with 31 seconds to play. It looks like we're 3rd and 4 with the ball on the 19. And it's a shotgun for Lovett again with 2 receivers to the right and a single receiver to the left. Once again, they put a receiver in motion, but it goes to the player who was in the backfield with McAllister, and it looks like he is going to have a first down as he goes out right at the marker. That stops the clock with 6.9 seconds left in the first quarter. So again, a different formation for Lovett and a running play. But lots of misdirection, lots of different players involved. Seems like he's certainly keeping the Towers defensive coordinator on his toes. And here's the pistol again with a single receiver to the right, a single receiver to the left. And again, it's going to be a run up the middle. And again, the Towers defense proves to be a little stout. Oh, my mistake. The previous play, Lovett didn't get a first down. It was a 4th down play, and Lovett doesn't convert. So that actually is effectively a turnover, and now it's going to be Towers ball on the 16-yard line.
And you know, as this Avondale Stadium starts to fill up, you got on the right side here, all supporters of Towers Titans, starting to fill up here. And then you see on the left, we have Lovett supporters, we have some parents, and I see all the way down there Fritz Van Winkle, and he's a Lovett senior who every assembly we have, he makes sure everyone gets out to the games, supports them all.
Right, he does a great job as leader of the Ultras. I'm sure that Coach Muschamp is going to want to have a conversation about the spot of that last Lovett play. If you run out of bounds into the first down marker, it would suggest that you had achieved a first down. And once again, Towers is going to come out throwing, but this time, instead of going deep, they're going to opt for that lateral swing pass, and Lovett is all over it. I don't even think he made it back to the line of scrimmage on that play. And the time is going to run out on the first quarter with the score, your Lovett Lions 14 and the Towers Titans 6. Breakthrough Atlanta is a summer program hosted on Lovett's campus, and it pursues a dual mission to increase academic opportunity for highly motivated and underserved students and get them into college ready to succeed, and inspire and develop the next generation of teachers and educational leaders. Visit breakthroughatlanta.org to learn more about this one-of-a-kind program. All right, so the Towers Titans are the first ones out to the field as we begin the second. Hopefully the Lions are getting hydrated. It's not as hot as it's been, but it was a long day. And certain players, Henry Beery comes to mind, have been doing the yeoman's work, and it'll be important that they remain hydrated.
Yeah, and you're gonna want to see how much rotation Coach Muschamp gets in for Henry Beery.
Right. Well, I think in a one-score game, he's going to be hesitant to change too much. Right. This is still a pretty competitive scenario. So Towers is going to come out with it's 2nd and 10 on the 16. Oh, some confusion about the spot. Towers is not going to change their formation. It remains 2nd and 10 with the ball on the 12. Sorry. And Towers is in their spread look again. Oh, but the official is going to weigh in. Not sure what's on his mind. Nothing too serious, as there's a little reshuffling of the Towers line. All right, shotgun snap. It looks like a pass play, and again, they're going to try to go deep, and it looks like he had overthrown his receiver, number 4, the whole time. It looked like the Lovett player had a better chance of making a play on that ball than anybody from Towers. Right, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10 on the 12. That looked like Chase Nally on the coverage for that play as well, and I think he had the best shot on that ball. Oh, but just as I say that, I'll probably be proven wrong. Let's see what we had. All right. Towers comes out in their spread look again, but this time it's a quarterback keeper, which is an ambitious call with that much room to make up. Isaiah Logan again makes a nice run. He's certainly a capable ball carrier, but I think that was an ambitious play call, and it was never going to make up that much space, and the Lions were able to sniff that one out. Which brings up 4th and 6, and it looks like Towers is going to opt to punt, which is probably the wise decision given how deep they are in the shadow of their own goalposts. Anderson Beavers back to receive. The snap is better for this one, but it's blocked. It's blocked, and Lovett recovers. It looks like Stevie Bracey recovers, and he's going to advance it for the score. And once again, Lovett does a terrific job blocking another kick. And this time, Stevie Bracey's there for the scoop and score. And it is 20-6, Lovett, pending the extra point. You got to credit Lovett's special teams coaches. They do such a good job identifying the weak points, what the other teams are trying to do. And we can almost expect blocked kicks every game. And again, Lovett's going to start in sort of a funky formation to see what Towers is going to do. And again, they're going to default back to a traditional extra point. Oh, but this time there's a bad snap. Oh! And the Lovett holder tries to advance the ball. I believe that was John Russ. Right, and the ball is momentarily knocked loose. But it looks like the Lions recover. That was a hectic sequence, and I'm not sure exactly what happened. Yep, Towers definitely punched the ball out, but it looks like they were not allowed to advance the ball. So Lovett is going to kick off. The conversion is no good. The score is Lovett 20, Towers 6 with 11:33 to play in the second quarter.
And again, with the blocked punt we had back there, I think it's pretty safe to bet that they're working on that in practice day in, day out.
Oh, I think, especially when they're in their special team periods, they're working on it. You know, and I think when you have some success, it's like anything, that when you're able to do it, you develop more confidence in it, and you feel like you're going to get them. You start to expect them. So Lovett's off to a good start with a 20-6 lead with 11:33 to play in the first quarter. And the kick is up. And this one's a little bit lower, more of a line drive. And you wonder if that was strategic in an attempt to get some of these shifty Towers receivers, forcing them to field the ball more quickly so that the return team doesn't have time to set up their blocks.
And we saw what happened on that earlier play on the kickoff. They ran it out to the 50-yard line.
Right.
So you can see they're trying to mess that up a little bit.
Right, so that line drive kick was probably a specific adjustment by Coach Moak and the special teams of the Lovett Lions. Okay, we've just been informed that we're experiencing some technical difficulties with the score. So please bear with us as we try to get to the root of whatever's bugging the system. And for those of you who are curious, the score remains Towers 6, Lovett 20. And what Towers is going to set up with 1st and 10 on their own 18 in the shotgun spread. And again, they're going to come out throwing, but Logan's pass is incomplete.
And as you may or may not know, Ted, I work through all the jobs here at the Lovett Network broadcast. And we get spoiled at the Riverbank. We get to hook up the score to the actual scoreboard. But here we have Jim Jarakidis. He's doing all the scores, and he's doing it by hand every play.
Well, certainly the Lovett Network's a labor of love for a lot of people, and that applies to John Jarakidis, and I'm sure he's going to get us hooked up. So it is 2nd and 10 with the ball on the 18. And again, this looks like a designed run for the quarterback, Logan. And again, he eludes a couple of Lovett tacklers. He is certainly a good athlete, but he covers a lot of real estate to only gain a few yards.
You saw near the beginning of that play, he slips a little bit, but he gets up, changes directions, and he picks up about 5 yards.
Right, it's an impressive run. He's a good-looking athlete. And so that's going to bring up, give me a minute as they adjust the chains. It looks to be about 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7. That was generous. They're going to call it 3rd and 5 with the ball on the 23. All right, and so again, Towers is going to come out and they're going to show their trips look with 3 receivers to the left of the quarterback, Logan. Oh, and it's a bad snap. And once again, he's forced to scramble. This time it's not a designed run. Ooh, and sort of a desperation heave there as he went down and just chucked it forward. He anticipated that Stevie Bracey was going to finish that tackle off, and I think he took the better course of valor there and just ducked and chucked it.
Well, I think they're calling it down on the field there. I think he hit the ground before he threw the ball.
Right, it looked like his knee was down.
Yeah.
So sort of a last-minute desperation play to avoid the sack, but it looks like if Bracey's not credited with the sack, he's at least going to be called down. So this will bring up 4th and 19 with the ball on the Towers 10. And they've had some issues with the snap. Remember, the last kick was blocked, and Stevie Bracey picked it up and scored. And this is the spot on the field where the same sort of thing could happen. And it looks like maybe that's a concern of the Towers coaching staff as they're going to call another timeout. So with 10:20 to play, the score remains 20-6, Lovett over Towers.
We'd like to thank our sponsors for this broadcast, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, First Landmark Bank, Play It Again Sports out of Buckhead, Concord Pharmacy, Atlantic Grill, Melwood Springs Natural Spring Water, and the Metro Atlanta YMCA. Thank you to all our sponsors for this broadcast.
All right, so we wonder if the Towers coaching staff is going to try something special here, or maybe they're just making sure everyone is aware of their blocking assignments as that Lovett kick coverage team comes out, having had so much success getting in front of footballs this season. So once again, it's 4th and 19 with the ball on the 10. And once again, it's not the world's greatest snap, but the punter does a good job getting it off, right? But this is a returnable ball, and Anderson Beaver's going to have a nice return, almost to the 22 before he's forced out of bounds, which is going to set up really nice field position for the Lions. All right, so it'll be interesting to see which of the myriad formations Coach Muschamp has employed tonight the Lions are going to start in for this play. If you were a betting man, Bennett, what would you pick on a first down play?
I think Blaine's going to run it.
He's going to run it?
I think he's going to run it.
Okay. All right, and it looks like we're in the shotgun again with 2 receivers to the right. All right, and again, it looks like a run. And again, they're going to go out to the right side. And that's Beery again with another impressive run. And he makes it to the 10-yard line before he's dragged down. Henry Beery is having a monster night for the Lovett Lions. So it's 9:50, and it is 1st and 10. They've yet to update the ball placement, but it looks to be on about the 17. And this time, McAllister's by himself in the shotgun. And that's a rare moment of imprecision tonight for the Lovett Lions, as McAllister's pass is just a little bit low for number 2, Ritter Wyndham.
And as you know, Ted, as we're talking about this Georgia Heat, you know, we're lucky the sun's gone down, but Coach Muschamp's taking precautions anyways. I've seen around the school in the hallways, he's had his players carry around jugs of water, actually, to all their classes. So they're staying hydrated out there.
I had lunch with the football team earlier in the week, and Colin Goldberg actually fills up a giant jug of water that he decorates with each week's opponent, which I thought was pretty funny. And here's Lovett again in the shotgun, and once again, Beery's going to go in motion. The same play as before, but this time McAllister gives it up. Beery goes over the left side, and he is in. He took the long way to get there, running almost all the way to the numbers, but he let his blocks develop, and that's another score for Lovett.
Already in the first half of this game, Henry Bear's making the highlight reel.
Right. I would credit Jay Joshi on that play, too. He held his, number 18, held his block and created a running lane for Beery to get to. So that was great. And once again, Lovett's going to give a formation, see what they get, and go back to a traditional extra point. And the kick is up, and it is good. And this, with 9:24 to play in the second quarter, the score is your Lovett Lions 27, Towers 6.
And after that score, we'd like to kick it down to Katie Freiberger, a student reporter.
I'm here with cheer captains Maggie, Daly, and Liza. So what is your favorite part about the cheer season?
I love homecoming. We're getting ready for it right now, and we're getting really excited for it next week.
What is the significance of your pink pom-poms and bows?
So every October, we use pink poms and wear pink bows for breast cancer awareness.
So since it is your senior season, your last season, what will you miss most about the team?
I'm really just going to miss everything. I'm going to miss my friends a lot and kind of just cheering on the Lions on Friday night.
Thank you, ladies. Back to you guys.
All right, we're back to the action, and Lovett is going to kick off again. It'll be interesting to see if they go back to that line drive, low kick, to try to eliminate the effectiveness of the Towers return game. That seemed like a great strategy on the last kick, Bennett.
Yeah, and it worked. I think he's gonna head a low drive today.
Well, we'll see in a moment.
Oh,
and this one, it's slightly different. It's more of a squib kick. It's definitely trying to get the ball to an up man as opposed to one of those elusive return players for the Towers Titans.
yeah, my call was completely wrong there. All viewers at home.
I think the principle was accurate, though. Keep the ball out of the hands of number 1 and number 5.
And you see down there with the interview we just had with the cheerleaders, they're all wearing their white and pink ribbons in support of Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
So it looks like it's going to be 1st and 10 for Towers at the 27-yard line. There's 9:20 remaining in the first quarter. And you know Towers is going to want to try to get something going before the half. It's been pretty much all Lovett, save a defensive score. But if they could punch one in before the half, that would change momentum going into halftime and give them something positive to work on. Once again, they're going to come out in a spread formation, and for the first time tonight, they motion a receiver. So now they're in their trips left look again, which we've seen a couple times. But it looks like we might have had some early movement, and the play is whistled dead. Yep, sorry, it wasn't early movement, it was delay of game, but the end result is that the Titans are moving backwards.
And you see these technical penalties just adding up for the Titans. It's yard after yard for them. And I mean, that's not what they're going to want to. If they want to get more points on the board in this first half, they're going to need to keep their minds in the game.
Right, it's imperative that you play a clean game if you're going to beat a Mike Muschamp coach team. So it's 1st and 15 with the ball on the 22, and this time it's 3 wide receivers to the left. And that's where Logan's going to look. He pumps once, doesn't see it, now he's running for his life. And he tries to target number 11, Javon Freeman, but I believe the pass was incomplete.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It just bobbled in his hands, and then you have the tackle coming in.
Right.
So it's incomplete.
And credit Logan for finding a wide receiver period as he was running for his life, as the Lions had that one sniffed out and the defensive front was generating some really positive pressure. It looks like Coach Muschamp might be going to the bench a little bit already. Oh, they try the screen pass.
Screen pass batted away.
But they go for the screen pass, but number 51, Grant Turner, does a great job of sniffing that out and getting a hand on the ball. I was just about to say that it looked like Turner was spelling Luke Wall, who's the normal starter at that right end spot. It looks like we might have a couple of backups in on that defensive front, as we're also seeing William Stimmel. And it looks like Bracey's up there now, too. Or he's probably the inside linebacker. But it looks like Lovett might bring some pressure here. They're certainly showing it, as, again, their trips. And, again, there's a penalty. And it looks like it's another infraction before the snap. Or was it a timeout? Maybe Coach Greer didn't like what he saw, and he wanted a moment to circle the wagons and address the troops. Well, this will give us an opportunity to give a shout out to Richard Jarakidis, who's watching at home. Richard, I'm speaking personally when I say please hurry back. I think anyone listening to this broadcast would much rather hear you than they would me. If anyone else would like a shout out, just follow us on Twitter and Instagram at LoveItAthletics. All right, so it looks like there wasn't an infraction on the play, and it was just a timeout. So we're going to return to action. Okay, so I understand that we still are having some issues with graphics. So there's 9:05 left to play in the first half. It is 3rd and 15 with the ball on the 22. Towers is going to set up again in the shotgun spread with trips to the right. Lovett again looks like they're going to bring a lot of pressure, and they're crowding the box. All right, and again, Logan is holding the ball, and he's looking to find somebody. But again, the pass drops in front of number 5, Khalil White, it looked like. Again, the Lovett front is bringing some pressure, forcing Logan to scramble, and he's looking to his check down receivers, and he doesn't appear quite as capable hitting those guys as he does throwing that deep ball.
No, and the Lovett defense is on tonight, you see, with the coverage. And there's just the instant, they're driving their legs into their opponents and they're getting towards the quarterback.
And I'm sure the Towers coaching staff is praying that for this punt they can just field it cleanly. And they do. It's a good snap. And a short end-over-end punt that Anderson Beaver is going to let roll. And it's going to be touchdown at what looks like the 32-yard line.
And you'd imagine Coach Muschamp's going to want to run the clock here for the end of the first half.
I imagine he'll take a methodical approach to finish the game for sure. So one assumes that Lovett is going to stick with what they've been doing, as it's been relatively successful. And we now have a Lovett 1st and 10 with the ball on the 32 with 8:47 left to play in the first half. And it looks like just McAllister in the backfield, right, in a spread formation, and he drops back, and he's looking to throw, and he's going to go deep, and he just underthrows his wide receiver.
You see Charlie Hoke just couldn't track the ball there. You have the lighting from the top there. I mean, we were down there earlier. It's kind of blinding.
Right, and there's a weird light in the end zone, too, that's sort of off the field, but you wonder if that didn't affect his angle or his perception of the ball. And once again, Lovett's in no hurry. They huddle up. They're going to call the play, and it's 2nd and 10 on the 32 with 8:41 to play. And this time, Lovett comes out in the shotgun with 2 wide receivers to the left, a single wide receiver to the right. And once again, McAllister's going to drop back and pass, so not playing it too conservatively. And he finds his man right at the sticks, and that looks like another Lovett first down. And this time, it was number 20, Logan Givens, with the reception. And he did a great job of getting right to the marker.
Yeah, he did. And as you're saying it, you know, I keep talking about this crowd and how, like, at the beginning of the game, I was remarking to you, I didn't think the stadium would get filled up, but you just see these constant streams of fans from the Towers Titans coming in. And
Right.
It's filling up.
Yep. So now it's 1st and 10 with the ball on 43, and Lovett in the shotgun again with 2 receivers to the right. Oh, and that pass looks like it's just through Stevie Bracey's hands. And the defensive back rides him into the ground, and it looks like that was illegal in the eyes of the official, who has thrown some gold on the far sideline. And it looks like, once again, a penalty is going to benefit the Lions. It looks like a personal foul.
Personal foul on Towers.
It looked like a personal foul on number 6 from Towers, who we don't have on our roster, apparently.
Some delay as the officials walk off the spot. Now they're moving. All right, so it looks like it's going to be another first down for the Lovett Lions, this time on the 42 of Towers. And this time, Lovett comes out in the I formation with McAllister under center and a single receiver to either side. And again, it's another run and another run up the middle. And the inside of that line does an amazing job getting a block. And number 29, Michael Hollingsworth, is going to take it down to inside the 10 before he's forced out of bounds. This offensive line of Lovett is having a terrific night and really opening some gaping holes and getting to the next level and creating some great running lanes for the Lovett running backs.
And you see McAllister, like what he has done, he's throwing some good throws, but it's all the offensive line tonight.
Well, they're certainly giving him a lot of time, and they're creating a lot of space for these Lovett backs. McAllister in the backfield again. And this time, it was Michael Hollingsworth again, which seems fitting after his long run on the play before. It started out as an empty backfield, and then Hollingsworth went in motion and joined McAllister, who handed the ball off, and it was an easy 6 for the Lovett Lions.
And that was a high snap off to McAllister, so it was good recovery for him to get off and make that pass.
Right, and again, I think that speaks to his pocket presence and composure, so that he was well prepared and handled it easily. So the kick is up, and it is good. And with 7:44 to play in the first half, the score is Towers Titans 6, your Lovett Lions 34. So it's interesting. I think we're starting to see Coach Muschamp rotating players, which is smart. So we saw Hollingsworth in for Beery a little bit. We've seen some rotation on the defensive line. So it's nice that Lovett is going to the depth chart and trying to get more kids involved in this game.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about before the game started. it was just going to see if we could get up early in the first half, and we have done that so far. So I think Coach Muschamp feels comfortable putting those who don't start so much in.
Right. And it'll be interesting to see some of these younger players and whether they can match the experience and the discipline of the starters. It's a great opportunity for them to improve as players and a great opportunity for Coach Muschamp to develop depth on this squad, which will be really important as we head into the meat of region play. So once again, Beery's ready to kick off. And once again, he's not willing to kick it deep. And so he just kicks it up, and it looks like the receiver on the far side was determined not to let the ball go out of bounds. It's hard to tell from here if he was able to save it and make possession or if the ball got out of bounds. Do you have a sense of that, Bennett?
I think the ball went out of bounds. They were tussling in the end there, but I saw him make the tackle.
Is there a flag? If it had gone out of bounds, they'd throw a flag. There's some discussion.
No, it didn't go out. Placing it there.
Well, then that's a great play by whoever the gunner was on the far side of the Lovett coverage team to hustle down there and to have the wherewithal to keep that ball from going out of bounds and make sure that Towers had the worst field position that they could cook up. So it is 34-6 Lovett with 7:41 to play in the first half. And it looks like after some discussion, all that praise was not earned and the ball did go out of bounds. So the officials have belatedly moved the chains and advanced Towers, who now have the ball on the, looks like the 35, and again, their shotgun spread. Oh, and Coach Greer is having none of it, and he sends the blitz, and it is effective. And Logan this time is unable to scramble and is brought down to the ground. Yeah, it looked like Bear Daniel that time, coming from the outside, like he was shot out of a cannon, and he made the most of that opportunity.
Yeah, he did. You have all those defensive line from Lovett, and they were all closing down on the quarterback, but he reaches out that hand and pulls him down.
Right, and there was no doubt that he was sent because he came from that outside backer spot. So Towers lines up again, and it's 2nd and 17 on the 27, and again they're in their shotgun spread look with two receivers to either side. Logan drops back, and again he looks over the middle, but he overthrows his receiver, number 11, Javon Freeman.
I was almost intercepted by number 14, Chase Nally of the Lovett Lions.
Right.
He almost got his fingertips to it.
That was a great effort on his part, not to give up on the play and to try to pick that ball off for the Lovett Lions. The incomplete pass brings up 3rd and 17 on the Towers 27 with 6:51 left to play in the first half here in Avondale Stadium. And Towers is huddling up. One wonders if they're going to depart from their shotgun spread, if they have something else in mind, and it does not appear to be the case. So here they are again, and it looks like Lovett is still continuing to rotate players on that defensive front. So it's a little delayed handoff there, but Lovett will have none of it, and the play is sniffed out right away. That'll bring up 4th and long for the Titans with 6:35 to play in the first half.
And you see the Titans haven't had much going on offense today's game, and that's pretty much due to Lovett's defensive line tonight. They're really putting in the work.
Right, I think that's true. They've definitely shown flashes of being able to pass the ball and having some athletic ability at wide receiver, but poor Isaiah Logan has been running for his life much of the night, and nothing's happening on the interior. The run game outside of Logan has been non-existent to this point. So the punt is up, and it's a high wobbler. Does not go very far, which gives Anderson Beaver the opportunity to field it, and he's going to drive his legs, and he's going to gain a hard 5 or 6 yards, which is going to bring up first down for the Lions at the 45 with 6 minutes to play in the first quarter and the score 34-6. It'll be interesting to see how much Coach Muschamp is willing to rotate his team still in the first quarter.
It's also going to be interesting to see how, our score from this week differs from Westminster last week. If I want to restate it, it was 51-6. with a loss for the Titans.
So McAllister's alone in the backfield again, and this time he's going to motion Anderson Beaver, and Beaver's going to get the ball, and he's going to go back to the line of scrimmage, but he's going to take the long way to get there as he runs outside the numbers and only gains the original line of scrimmage by putting his head down and driving. So that play took a long time to develop, but did not accomplish that much. Which brings up 2nd and 9 on the 46 with 5 minutes, 34 seconds to play in the first half here at Avondale Stadium. So we're seeing Coach Muschamp start to rotate a little bit, with Anderson Beaver getting some of the runs that earlier in the game had been going to Henry Beery. And once again, Lovett starts with an empty backfield and motions it back in. And once again, that back gets the ball. This time it's up the middle. And it looks like that time it was Michael Hollingsworth who picks up a couple of tough yards, and it looks like it's going to bring up 3rd and 3 on about the 38 with 4:48 to play. And Lovett's quick to the line again. And this time McAllister's under center, and there's a single back, 2 tight ends, and 1 wide receiver to the right. And once again, the ball is going to go up the middle, and to nobody's surprise. And once again, it's going to be effective, as it looks like it was Hollingsworth again, and this time he gets the first down.
And the Lions I've seen tonight are especially good at converting their 3rd downs. I mean, they haven't gotten to them often, to be fair. But when they do, it's really not a question.
Right, again, and credit to that offensive line of Lovett Lions. They're just doing a terrific job opening holes in the middle and driving the Titans back. And so once again, McAllister's going to be under center with a single back and 1 wide receiver to the right and 2 tight ends. This time he fakes the pitch, but then hands the ball off. And again, it's a big gainer. That time, it looked like it was either Michael Hollingsworth or Carter McIntosh. And McAllister sort of faked the pitch and then handed the ball off, and that was enough for another significant gain. All right, looks like there's some confusion as the Lions set up on the 27. And again, it's McAllister in the shotgun with a single back, and it's a run up the middle, but McAllister keeps it, and this time he does not get anywhere, as Ahmad Perkins for the Titans is able to make the proverbial shoestring tackle and bring McAllister down. All right, it is 34-6 in the first half with 3 minutes left. You wonder, with the score being what it is, how far into the second half we'll see Blaine McAllister, and whether Coach Muschamp might want to preserve a player like McAllister or Henry Beery with the meat of the region schedule coming up. Once again, we apologize for technical issues. We're not able to put the full technical capabilities of the Lovett Network on display tonight. There seems to be a glitch. We would be normally providing you with down and distance and the clock and the score, and obviously if you're watching at home you can't see that, so you're relying on us to give it to you, and we will try to do as good a job as we can. So the Lions come out this time, and once again they're going to be in the pistol formation with a single receiver to either side. It is 3rd and 8 on the 33, and McAllister's going to come out throwing. And the Titans defensive back makes a good play, but he might have been a little over-eager in his coverage there, as once again the officials are throwing the penalty flag.
These officials are no strangers to those yellow flags, are they, tonight?
Right, I think they're getting paid by the flag, potentially, trying to demonstrate their merits. But we can't really complain, as most of the calls have gone the way of the Lovett Lions. So it'll be interesting to see if that's pass interference on the Titan defensive back. Well, All right, and the officials have been a little slow to move the chains after these. Here they go. All right, not 100% sure because they're being, if we put it diplomatically, they are being, oh, I had a better word, but I
Slow
lost
and
it.
precise.
Deliberate. They're being deliberate with moving the chains.
Deliberate and precise. I would
Deliberate and
say.
precise, both great words. Your English teacher would be very pleased. Who do you have for English, Bennett?
I have Miss Morris.
All right. I'm sure she'll be really impressed with your vocabulary. Good job.
Thank you, Ted.
All right, and again, Lovett comes out. This time McAllister's under center. And again, it's a run. And again, it's over the left side.
He will get 6 on the play.
Looks
Right.
like he picked up 6 yards on that play.
Sounds like it. Yep, and again, Lovett is just riding the interior of that offensive line. I think you've got to give credit to Tebow Brooks, Dobbs Davey, Cal Barwis, Luke Wall, and the tight ends, Stevie Bracey. They are just manhandling this Towers front, and we're seeing it again as there's a big run right out to the marker.
He got enough for a first down.
So there are 2 minutes and 4 seconds left to play in the first quarter here at Avondale Stadium with your Lovett Lions driving. The score is 34-6. That run looks like it's brought up 1st and goal on the 5.
And you know what? The Titans have used up all their timeouts for this half. So it's going to be interesting to see what Muschamp does with those.
Right, you've got to imagine that we're just going to see more running plays from the Lions here. Why risk putting the ball in the air when you've had so much success on the ground on the back of that line, right? And on cue, waiting for the signal, that looked like a Lions touchdown.
Hollingsworth.
And that was Hollingsworth again, and once again, he had a nice channel to run on, and it looks like he did not get in spite of an impressive effort at the end where he put his head down and tried to drive it in. Looks like it's going to be 2nd and goal with the ball on the 1. So I'm not surprised to see McAllister under center here, and wouldn't be surprised if this was just a quarterback snap, but it is not. It's a handoff, and it is another Lions touchdown for Michael Hollingsworth. So with 1 minute and 5 seconds left to play in the first half here at Avondale Stadium, the Lions score again. So the ball is snapped, it's down, and the kick is good.
It's up. It's good. 65 seconds left to go in the half. Lions roaring 41-6.
And so with 65 seconds left to play in the first half, the score is Lovett 41, Towers 6. It's another really impressive drive by the Lovett Lions, and one where I think the majority of the credit needs to go to those guys on the offensive line who are just manhandling the Titan defensive front. So as we approach halftime, Bennett, and you enjoy your ice-cold water, any takeaways or surprises in the first half for you?
No, I'm thinking we're seeing more substitutions from Muschamp with the younger guys out there, getting more experience earlier in the game than I thought we would. But again, that's also due to our early lead that we have in this game.
Right, so the kick is up, and this time, Beery tries to get all of it and kicks it deep, right? Ooh! And a ferocious hit on that play, and that looked like it was Alan Pope who made the most of his opportunity there, and what looked like a promising run had the door closed on it very quickly by number 44, Alan Pope.
You know what? As soon as that hit was made, you could hear the crowd go, ooh.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, I'd say that was a jaw dropper. And interesting that Coach Muschamp opted to kick the ball deep that time, probably knowing that the Titans don't have any timeouts left and there's less than a minute left in the half. this would have to make them cover the length of the field if they were going to score. So Coach Muschamp, even in a 41-6 lead, is thinking strategically. And again, Towers is going to come out in their spread formation with 2 receivers to either side and a single back next to Logan in the backfield. And again, they're going to throw. And this time it's just outside the outstretched arms of the receiver. And it looked like that was Shun Taylor, who went up for it, but just wasn't tall enough to bring in that pass from Isaiah Logan. That's going to bring up 2nd and 10 on the 18 with 49 seconds to go in the first half. And once again, the Titans are in their spread formation. And you've got to imagine they're going to take a shot here as time is going to start not being their friend on this drive. Instead, they opt for the quick look, trusting in the wide receiver's ability to create a play for himself. And it picks up a couple yards, but the Lovett Lions are there to snuff it out. No doubt playing off to prevent the big play at this point in the game.
Yeah, and the Titans with 0 timeouts left, they can't, and the clock's running down, 30 seconds, 29. You know, it just doesn't look like they're going to get many more opportunities in this half.
You've got to imagine that if they're going to score here, they're either going to go deep or they're going to try to mix in some sort of hook and ladder type play, which we saw in the opening kickoff. But again, they're trying to get a capable ball carrier open in space. And again, Lovett is not going to have anything to do with it, as Ritter Wyndham, number 2, is right there and makes a great tackle. So a first down is going to stop the clock with 10.2 seconds left here. And Lovett Lions leading 41-6. It is going to be 1st and 10 with the ball, but once they reset it, the clock is running. We'll see if the Titans are able to get a play off. And it's a live play, and we don't know. So a bit of confusion there as the Titans snapped the ball before the horn sounds, but Isaiah Logan stopped playing upon hearing the horn. And the Lovett defender there can be credited with sportsmanship. Having the opportunity to tattoo Logan, he opted not to and wrapped him up. So credit there. So please stand by. We're going to reboot our system at halftime to try to resolve technical difficulties. So you might not be hearing from us for a moment. So please be patient and stick with us.
Test, test.
Next we have Mr. Benny Zelich Jr. Mr. Zelich is being supported by Erica Bennett. Mr. Zelich is a 12th grader and plans to major in electrical engineering at the University of Georgia. Mr. Zelich clubs include USA President and the Tower Scholars of Excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Catherine Ford.
Hi, I'm Grace Schneider, and I'm a sideline reporter for the Lovett Network. And today I'm here with Maggie and John Staten, co-president of the Linebackers. Thank you guys for being our halftime guests, and welcome to the Lovett Network. Ms. Staten, for those who may be new to Lovett, can you please explain what the Linebackers organization is and its role within Lovett Athletics?
Sure, Grace. The Linebacker organization is the Parent Athletic Association here at Lovett. We have wonderful parent volunteers who help with concessions and linebacker events and fundraisers. With the money that we raise, we are able to give back to Lovett to enhance and improve Lovett's athletic facilities and programs.
That's great, thank you. As a side note for our viewers, the generosity of the Linebackers donors provided us for all the recent upgrades to our live sports telecasts, such as instant replays, sideline cameras, and reporters. So thank you on behalf of Lovett Network. Now, Mr. Staten, how does it feel to return to your alma mater and serve not only in your capacity with the Linebackers, but also as a trustee?
You know, it's great. Really enjoy the tradition and love it, the history of love it. Special place to me being a graduate, and being able to give back in any shape or way I can is very beneficial. You know, Lovett has an amazing tradition, history, not only in the city, but in the state of Georgia and nationally. And one of my goals is to continue that excellence.
What are your goals for the Linebackers this year?
Well, one of our goals is to do a community builder. We like to put on events that bring the Lovett community and families together in a fun atmosphere. Tonight we had the annual Linebacker Picnic, which is the barbecue for Lovett families and alumni before the football game. And we've also had an event called Fun on the Field. We did that before the GAC football game, and that was a big hit for lower school and middle school families. We had blow-up slides, face painters, Lovett cheerleaders, free pizza. Everybody had a great time. Another goal for the Linebackers is to raise money to give back to the athletic program. And we raise money through our membership, through concessions, through our football program. Businesses in our community buy ads for our Lovett football program, and then we're able to hand them out at football games for free. We also have 2 fundraisers. One of them is the Linebacker tennis tournament. We had that in September a couple weeks ago. It was lots of fun. I always enjoy playing in the tennis tournament. Great way to meet new Lovett parents and just to have fun and raise money for Lovett athletics. And then coming up pretty soon, we have the Linebacker golf tournament. It's going to be on October 21st at Peachtree Golf Club, and you can sign up for it on the Lovett website.
Yeah, that's a great event. It's great to get people together, and it's really a good fundraiser for the school. So I encourage everybody to get involved.
Lastly, we mentioned that there may be new viewers watching the Lovett Network, and how can one get involved and help support the Linebackers?
Well, we welcome all volunteers. We'd love for everyone to come volunteer, and you can sign up on the website, or you can reach out to me. I'm happy to tell you about all of our different events that we put on. And then, of course, we'd love for everybody to become a member of the Linebackers, grandparents, alumni, and all the parents. Really, every membership and every volunteer makes a difference. So please join the Linebackers.
Your oldest child, John IV, was recently featured on our Alumni Spotlight for his outstanding achievements on the gridiron for the Sanford Bulldogs. How did playing on the riverbank prepare him for collegiate ball?
You know, when you think about Lovett and you think about our mantra for the whole child and how we educate the whole child, nurture the whole child, I think the same thing applies to athletics. It is a very comprehensive program. The training that Lovett has, our facility at the MAC is one of the best I've ever seen, and probably one of the nicest in the state of Georgia for high school training. The sports medicine program to help kids get back on the field, understand their bodies, and obviously the coaching here at Lovett is exceptional. And you know, Lovett has an amazing tradition in athletics, a very strong tradition in football, and I think that feeling of tradition and drive and wanting to be the best and wanting to perform and wanting to help your school is something that John learned here, and then he's able to take it to the next level, bigger school and greater competition. But I think the base that he had coming out of Lovett prepared him for some of those challenges that he's facing now.
Mr. and Mrs. Staten, thank you so much for all you do for the Linebackers, for Lovett, and go Lions!
Go Lions!
Thank you.
Welcome to the Lovett Sports Report. I'm Matthias Raponi, class of 24.
And I'm Daniel Sands, class of 24.
This was an exciting week in Lovett sports as the Division II and III water polo state tournaments were held this past weekend, with opening round games played on Saturday and remaining games completed on Sunday.
On Saturday, the Lovett A Club Water Polo Lions won their opening game against St. Pius B 13-2. Then on Sunday morning, stymied an energetic Wesleyan team 12-4.
Sunday afternoon, Lovett A faced off against Wildcat B, a club team from Cobb County featuring players from Wheeler, Walton, Roswell, Lassiter, Holy Spirit, Kennesaw Mountain, Crabapple, Pope, and Hillgrove. The Lions initially fell behind 0-2, but a rally behind stout defense and strong team chemistry led to a 7-3 win and the Division II Club Water Polo State Championship.
That's right, John. Go Lions! Lovett A finished the regular season with a record of 13-0-1, winning his 3 games in the state tournament with an aggregate score of 32-9. Congratulations to the 25 student athletes comprising the Lovett A Water Polo State Championship team.
The Lovett B Club Water Polo team was also in action last weekend, losing their opening round game to Lakeside C before moving to the consolation bracket where the Lions defeated Collins Hill C. But after battling on just an hour's rest, the Lions eventually succumbed to a 4-8 to a tenacious Forsyth C team. Lovett senior Elise Burns and junior John Soroji led the Lions and played almost the entirety of both games, while senior Savannah Dean returned early from the vestry retreat and jumped in for a fourth quarter rally in the final game. But despite getting several good shots on the goal, the Lovett Lions could not pull out the W for Lovett B. The volleyball Lions were also in action, boarding a charter bus for Sarasota, Florida, early Friday morning to play in the Thunder Superdome tournament. Facing the Tampa Bay Heat, the scrappy Lions eventually won against a determined adversary in 3 sets, 25-15, 23-25, and 15-9. But unfortunately lost their second match Friday to an impressive Charlotte team, 23-25, 21-25. Lovett concluded pool play Saturday morning with a win over Bishop McLaughlin, 25-14, 25-8. The Lovett Lions were then seeded into the silver bracket where they were the first dispatch team. Harvest before facing a rematch with the emboldened Heat. The Never Say Die Lions upended Tampa Bay 25-19, 21-25, and 17-15 to win the silver bracket. And as an added bonus, both Sloan Vassar and Michaela Moran were named to the all-tournament team. Then, traveling to Mount Vernon on Tuesday, the volleyball Lions won the first set before losing tight matches in sets 2 and 3 of the best-of-5 series. Lovett rallied to win the fourth set, forcing a fifth and deciding showdown, where unfortunately for the Lovett team, Mount Vernon prevailed on their senior night. The busy volleyball Lions were back in action again last night as Lovett traveled to Mount Perrin again to take on the Eagles in a best-of-3 out of 5 series. Whether it was road weariness or Lovett simply ran into a Cobb County buzzsaw, the Lions were swept by the Eagles 25-16, 25-10, and 30-28.
The volleyball Lions conclude their regular season at Westminster at 5 p.m. on Monday, so make sure to come out and wear your Lovett blue and show your support by rooting the Lions to victory.
Speaking of the Wildcats, last night in the final regular season of softball game of the year, Lovett hosted Westminster at Brooks Field. Sophomore pitching ace Peyton Canale took the mound, and in a showdown of cross-neighborhood rivals, the Lions pummeled the Wildcats 9-1. Now they advance to the state playoffs and host Greater Atlanta Christian on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. Lovett students, staff, and families are encouraged to come out and cheer on the Lovetts to victory. The cross-country Lions were off last weekend, but traveled to Cary, North Carolina for the Great American Cross Country Festival on Saturday. Finally, Lovett hosts Stone Mountain in football next Friday for homecoming on the riverbank. Kickoff at Conley Oakley is at 7:30 p.m., so get there early, show your school colors, and make some noise for the Lovett Lions. That's it for this week's Lovett Sports Report. We'll be back next week for more exciting Lions action. I'm Matthias Raponi, class of 24.
And I'm Daniel Sams, class of 24, wishing everyone a great week.
Have a nice day. Welcome to a day in the life at Lovett. This is your space to learn, grow,
2, 1,
and explore.
Hey guys, what's up?
Welcome to Becoming a Maker.
Welcome to your first lunch with lifelong friends.
Welcome to fellowship.
Welcome to being a part of the team.
Welcome to finding your voice.
I know it's Saturday, darling, and I apologize.
I hope you had a great day.
Welcome to Love It, a school that focuses on the whole child. I look forward to meeting you. Go Lions!
Welcome back to the to Avondale Stadium. Actually, I was about to say the Riverbank, forgetting that we are away today. Lovett's in white, by the way. So I'd just like to recap the first half stats for the Lions. We had 18 first downs versus the Titans' 2 first downs. We had 264 rushing yards versus a mere 15 rushing yards from the Titans. We had 49 passing yards versus 31 passing yards from the Titans, and we had 0 penalties equaling 0 yards. And the Titans had 7 penalties equaling 72 yards. And you know, out of those statistics, the one that stands out to me is 264 rushing yards for the Lions, Ted. It really just emphasized the running game that we were playing in the first half.
Right. I mean, it's easy to look at the backs who've accumulated those chunks of yardage, but you have got to tip your hat to Stimmel, Barwis, Davey, Brooks, Wall, and Bracey, and those guys on the line who have just been manhandling the Titans all night. I think another compelling stat line, and one that the Titan coaches will surely address this week in practice, is the fact that they've been penalized 7 times for 72 yards. It's hard for them to get a lot of positive momentum when they're constantly shooting themselves in the foot. We're here to kick off the second half at Avondale Stadium, and the Titans are set to receive. It'll be interesting to see if Henry Beery, it will not be Henry Beery. We're going to go to Bear Daniel. So already we're seeing Coach Muschamp going deeper on the depth chart at some key positions. But it'll be interesting to see if he goes with the strategy of the shorter kick to take away the dynamic kick returners of the Titans, or if he goes deep as he did at the end of the first half. And this time, Daniel's going to let it rip. So he kicks the ball and gives the Titans a chance to return it. And they make something out of it, but there appears to be one flag, and now a second one comes in. So not sure what the officials saw, but it was certainly in the area of holding, and the late flag makes you wonder if there wasn't something extracurricular at the end of the play.
Yeah, and off that kick, you know, the kicker's been switching it up every time. So, you know, it's really hard for us to predict if he's going to drive it, he's going to kick it high, he's going to chip it. But we just saw he kicked it deep.
Right. And it does appear that Coach Muschamp is going to try to use the depth on the Lions roster in this second half, as we see some of our normal faces are not on the field on the defense to start the second half. So it looks like Grant Turner is in for Luke Wall, number 51. Ritter Wyndham is staying in at linebacker. And again, that's not the way to start the second half, as the foul is a personal foul on Towers to start the second half. So what was decent field position rapidly has become terrible field position for a team in the hole starting the second half. And there appears to be no change in the Towers approach as they are coming out in their shotgun spread formation again. And that might be a bit of an adjustment, as Isaiah Logan, the Towers quarterback, tried to get it out very quickly, potentially in an attempt to negate what was a terrific Lovett pass rush in the first half.
And that early penalty is not what varsity coach Vonnell Carter wants to see from his Titans. You know, they just come out of first half where they had 7 penalties with 72 yards in total, and that did not help things at all.
Right, but the Titans are on the move after that penalty, and it looks to be first down on the 21. Oh! And Isaiah Logan is crushed by Ritter Wyndham coming off the edge, absolutely flattened, and he loses the ball, which appears to be recovered right on the goal line. And we'll look at the replay. Ritter Wyndham just annihilates the back who's there to protect. And it appears that it was William Stimmel, number 55, who recovered the ball. And this is terrific field position.
And I'm looking at the scoreboard over there, 30 yards to go for the Titans. You're going to wonder how they're going to have to make up this yardage.
Right, I'm sorry, I misspoke. Stimmel didn't recover the ball, but he tackled the ball carrier. So it put the Titans in a huge hole, and again, a penalty flag. Half the distance to the goal, if they back the Titans up, is not going to amount for a lot of real estate at this point, as they're already right in the shadow of their own goalposts. So this situation is precarious for the Titans, certainly, and you wonder if the Lions are going to send somebody and go for that safety. They're not. And Isaiah Logan is going to go deep looking for his receiver, Nigel Hudson, number 22, and he overthrows him again. You can't blame him for having happy feet in his own end zone with a Lovett pass rush hot on his heels.
Yeah, and it's been happening all game, the pass rush. And he really has nowhere to go. There's no outlets for him to throw it to.
Right, and he's been the Titans' offense all night. So this will bring up 3rd and 30 for the Titans. And again, a bad snap, and Logan drops back, and he is just going to let it go. And it looks like the pass is complete to number 5. I believe that's Khalil White who hauls the pass in. And unbelievably, the Titans are on the move, and they've gone from out of the shadow of their own goal line, and it looks like it's going to be first down on the 38 for the Titans, who are going to live or die by that passing attack tonight. And as soon as I say that, it's a handoff, and it is stuffed in the backfield.
And you see that earlier play with Khalil White. I mean, what a sprinter he is. He gets out there in a few seconds. He makes the outlet, quarterback. Isaiah Logan makes the pass, and he's there to snatch it up.
Right, it's easy to see why the Titans want to get the ball in his hands. But he's coming off the field now. You wonder if the heat is getting to him, and he's a little bit tired. He's been playing both ways. Lovett with a 3-man front, and it is 2nd and 15 with 8:16 left to play in the third quarter. And Towers is in the same formation with 2 receivers to either side. And again, they are looking to throw the ball and get it to a receiver in space where they can make a play. And that was Chase Nally, one of the backup corners who's filling in for the Lions, who made a tackle and preventing what could have been a very big play for Towers, who's driving the ball here to start this second half. And this time, Logan's got 3 wide receivers to his right, and that's where he's going to go with the ball. And again, it's sort of a screen pass where they're looking to get the ball out to one of their receivers, get some blockers in place, and try to get something going out on the far side of the field. And that time, it was number 2, Ahmad Perkins, who was the receiver. And he looks like he's coming up a little gingerly. This brings up 2nd and 5 on the 48 with 7:02 to play in the third quarter. It's a good test for this Lovett defense, who enjoyed a relatively easy go of things in the first half. Here's hoping they'll subscribe to the bend but don't break theory and get a stop here. And once again, Towers is going to drop back. Oh! And Logan is hit as he's throwing the ball, and it looks like the Lovett defender might have caught the ball before it hit the ground.
It looked like that was Michael Hollingsworth to me, number 29.
I think it was Stimmel, number 55, who made the tackle and then recovered the ball. But that has got to sting for Towers, who was putting together by far their best drive of the night, only to see that pressure that was present in the first half get to Logan, knock the ball loose, and get the ball back to Lovett. And right away, we're seeing that Coach Muschamp is going to use his bench as number 12, John Russ, is in at quarterback for Lovett.
And as we get into the second half, it continues to get a little bit cooler. Humidity is not going down. I'm feeling bug bites all over me right now. How about you?
Well, I'm not sure if bug bites are related to the temperature, but I agree. I think that the temperature's dropping, but it does feel humid up here. So a different cast, but the same result as Lovett is able to reel off a 5-yard run on first down. And now it's Logan in the shotgun, motioning his receiver into the backfield, and that's going to be a handoff. And again, it's another 5-yard run. This time it was number 22, Henry Jones. I think that's the first time we've called his name this evening.
And the officials are taking some time to discuss this. It looks like it's just short of the first down.
Right, we described them as
and now they're moving the
deliberate.
chains.
Yep, again, the deliberate approach by the officiating crew tonight, making sure they're all on the same page before they're moving those chains. So I believe that because the score has reached the differential it has, that we've moved to running time. So the clock is running quickly in this second half. There's 4:20 to play in the third quarter. Russ sets up in the shotgun with a single receiver to each side, and again, it's a handoff to number 22, Henry Jones. This one is not as effective as the last two.
And it looks like you're right, there is a running clock going on right now. And I think Coach Muschamp's going to be happy with that because he needs his players rested and healthy, despite all the injuries they already have.
Right, I think getting out of Avondale Stadium with a healthy roster is almost as important as getting out with the win. And he won't want to take any risks or put anyone in a position where they potentially pick up an injury that's going to affect them for the rest of the year. This time, Russ is going to keep the ball himself, and he scampers for what looks to be 6 or 7 yards, which should, I would describe that as an unfair spot. But maybe the officiating crew has judged that Russ's knee went down, but it looks like that's going to bring up 3rd and 5 on the 36 with just over 3 minutes to play in the third quarter. It'll be interesting to see if Coach Muschamp lets Russ throw the ball or if they maintain this steady diet of run plays. Again, they motion the receiver, and again, Russ is going to keep the ball. This time he's going to go over the right side, gets great blocks, and gets knocked out around the 22. That's a great run for the senior, John Russ.
And again, with our offensive line, you see they're getting the blocks in there. That gives him the opportunity to run that play. And it's been an outstanding performance from them tonight.
Right, and again, you're seeing some different people out there. On that play, Jack Drury, number 52, got downfield and it created an opening for Russ to take advantage of. And now Russ is out in the pistol. And again, it looks like a 2 tight end set with a receiver to either side and a single back. And again, it's just going to be a run right up the middle. And again, it goes positive yards. And again, that Lovett offensive line, regardless of who's playing, are driving their feet and knocking the Titans back. So the clock continues to tick here in running time due to the score differential. We are just under 2 minutes to play in the third quarter with the score 41-6. It's second in what looks to be 4 or 5 yards. It is 4 yards. The ball on the 17. And John Russ in the pistol again with 2 receivers to his left. And again, this is a run that's going to go up the middle, and it's going to be very effective. And this time, it's a touchdown for number 27, Henry Stimmel, a sophomore running back. With a great patient run, he let his blocks develop and then drags 2 defenders into the end zone on his own. That's a great run for the sophomore. And this is a relatively straightforward approach to the extra point this time for Lovett, with a late arriving kicker. And John Russ is going to stay in as the holder. I doubt we'll see any trickeration here. And the extra point clangs off the upright. So that leaves us with a score of 47-6 with 1:09 left to play. Sorry about the pause. I was just terrified by a bass drum to my right. So that was a 7-play, 50-yard drive for the Lovett Lions.
And we'd like to kick it down to Katie Freiberger with an interview down by the field.
I'm here with Lovett Ultra Fritz. So Fritz, what is your favorite part about being an Ultra?
Honestly, just having a good time, dressing out in themes, and just being with all my friends. I think that's probably the best part. It's just a really fun experience to be out here every Friday night and then on the weeknights for other sports as well.
So when you graduate, what are you going to miss most about the football season at Lovett?
Probably just the sense of community that we have here at Lovett, especially because we have more of a smaller football team and we know most of the guys, and then I know most of the kids in the crowd, so it's just really fun because you have that personal relationship with everybody, and that's been kind of hard to get on a college campus, so I'm going to miss that.
Thank you, Fritz. Back to you guys.
Thank you, and the kick is up, and again, Lovett opts to kick it deep despite the threat posed by the Towers return men, and it looks like they might make them pay, right, with a big return before Bear Daniel makes what looked to be a touchdown-saving tackle on what was another Towers return. There's no question that Towers has some athletes and players that can make a play if they get an opportunity in space.
Yeah, they have an athletic team, especially with their quarterback, and you see them right now, they can run right through us if we're not careful enough with our tackles.
Right, and discipline is a problem as well. If they could avoid the penalties and just get the ball to their playmakers in space, you'd think they'd pose more of a threat to the Lions. Fortunately, the Lovett defensive line has kept Isaiah Logan running for his life all night, and they've not had the opportunity to get the ball in space. It'll be interesting to see if they go to that shorter kick again on subsequent kickoffs.
Get ready to tee off. Registration is open for the 2019 Linebackers Golf Tournament, scheduled for Monday, October 21st at Peachtree Golf Club. The modified scramble format starts at 11 a.m. and concludes with a cocktail reception at 4 p.m. Information and registration can be found on the Lovett website.
And we're working on getting the graphics up to speed, so you'll see they're coming in and out. Bear with us. We're adjusting to life in Avondale Stadium, and it's posed some problems for the technical crew, but we're doing our best and confident that we can be successful. There you go. We've got graphics on the screen, and you can see that your Lions lead Towers 47-6. There's just under a minute to play in the third quarter. And this is going to be Towers' ball, and it looked like they just marched the ball forward, so not sure if there was a foul on the Lions at the end of that play, but it looks to be in the neighborhood of an unsportsmanlike conduct or a late hit. Oh, but another positive opportunity for Towers is ruined on a subsequent play as a bad snap puts Isaiah Logan in a rough spot, and he is just run over at the end of that play.
Yeah, it looked like that low snap just gave the Lovett defense an opportunity to swarm him.
Right, the story of this game really has been in the trenches where the Lovett Lions have just dominated, whether it's opening holes for the offense or forcing the able quarterback for Towers to run for his life all night. And whether it's the starters or whether it's the reserves, they are wreaking havoc on the Towers line. So Logan's going to drop back, and predictably they're going to pass. Oh! But the Lovett defense again comes up with a big play. And this time it's Chase Nally with the interception.
And that'll round up the third quarter of this game.
Right.
As the buzzer sounds.
That's a great end to the third quarter. And once again, Towers looks like it was putting together a solid drive, generating some momentum. And Lovett makes a big play to turn the tables on them. So at the end of 3 quarters of play, the score is Towers 6, Lovett 47. After the break, it's going to be Lovett ball. We'll use this opportunity to recognize our alumni spotlight, Willie Candler from the class of 2015. Now an outstanding quarterback for the University of West Georgia, Willie is in his 5th season with the Wolves and 4th on the game day roster. During his 3 seasons on the field, he's thrown a total of 6,343 yards for 60 touchdowns and rushed for 11 for a total of 736 yards. Willie is a double major in real estate and marketing. Willie Candler, the Lovett Alumni Spotlight shines on you. So Matt Russ sets up in the pistol again, and again it's a handoff, and again the Lovett line is opening tremendous holes.
You know what, Ted? I'm going to be curious to see what the total rushing yards for this game is going to be. You see, you already had 264 for the Lions in the first half, and it looks like it's going to continue.
Right, if the reserve linemen can continue to open up holes like that, it's certainly going to be the case. And here's the interception from a moment ago, and we misspoke. There was a final play in the third quarter, which has just occurred. That first play you saw, the run, was the final play of the third quarter, and now we're moving on to the fourth as both teams move to the other end of the field.
This week, the Faculty Staff Spotlight is proud to recognize 16-year staff member Mike Burgess. As an integral staff member since 2003, Mike manages Lovett's fleet of 19 buses, keeping them running clean, safe, and full of gas. He is Lovett's father of 4 and grandpa of 4 more. His colleague, Jessica Amador, says Mike is one of the best personally and professionally. He is always working behind the scenes to keep Lovett running smoothly, including serving as one of the leaders for the inaugural bus program. Lovett is truly a better place to work thanks to Mike's efforts. Thank you, Mike, for your loyalty and service to Lovett.
So we start the fourth quarter with the Lions firmly in control of this contest. John Russ remains at quarterback in the shotgun, and a low snap is ably handled, and again, it's a run up the middle. And he looked to have the distance for the first down, but we'll wait to see how our deliberate officiating crew handles that, and it looks like it will be good enough for the first down.
Yeah, a little less deliberate on that play. They made a decision a
Right.
couple seconds after.
Right.
So you see they're starting to get in the groove of it, second half of this game, fourth quarter.
Better late than never. We certainly appreciate their decisiveness. And remember, the clock is going to continue to run because of the score differential. So just about 11 and a half minutes to play in the fourth quarter. Lovett is going to have the ball 1st and 10 on their own 18. And again, Russ is going to set up in the pistol with a single receiver to each side. And again, it's a run up the middle, and I think we can all expect a steady diet of that for the remainder of the game. But again, the run is successful, and again, the Lovett line is opening holes for the running backs.
And, you know, you got to think if you're Coach Carter of the Towers Titans, you're going to try to think of something to stop this Lovett running game. So far, I haven't really seen much to combat it, but I guess we'll see what happens in this fourth quarter.
Right, I think it's tough when you're just getting manhandled at the point of attack. It's hard to, you can scheme all you want, but if you can't get off your block or you can't make a block, or get to the ball carrier, you're going to have limited success. So again, a little play action there as Russ fakes the toss and hands the ball off. And it looks like this time it was Parker Hammond, number 28, getting his first carry of the game and taking advantage of it as he gets the Lions another first down.
And as we get into this fourth quarter, we're starting to see these names that we haven't read off before as Muschamp kind of rotates the squad in and out.
Right, and he'll be happy that he's able to do that. Part of the key for small schools is to make it out of these games healthy so that you've got all of your players and you can run all of your schemes as you get into the meat of that region schedule. So Russ in the shotgun with another handoff. And again, it goes for a couple yards.
Yeah, it looks like he got about 2 yards on that one, and the official spots it.
Right.
At the 45.
And it's positive yardage, but judged against what the Lions have been doing all evening, it's almost disappointing. And the Lions are being deliberate, taking their time, getting in the huddle, letting the clock run down. Right? Just over 9 minutes to play in this fourth quarter. And Russ is going to set up in the shotgun with 2 receivers to his right. And it's a handoff to number 22. And again, there's a great hole. And again, there's a first down. That's Henry Jones again on the big running play.
And it looks like he just runs through Jalen Smith right there.
Right.
With the legs, he points his shoulder forward, and he gets right through him.
Right, and you've got to feel for these Towers defenders. They've been on the field a lot tonight, and they've been asked to make a lot of tackles.
Yeah, it's hot out there, and they're out there for most of the game as this Lovett offense is pretty much controlling the clock and the game.
Right, and I think in a game like this, and with temperatures like we've had this week, you've got to tip your hat to Sean Del Favreau and Neil Peduzzi and the strength and conditioning staff and the athletic training staff, because they've got these Lovett athletes ready to compete. And it's the fourth quarter, and it's been 100 degrees, and they're still playing hard, and they're winning their individual matchups, and they're opening holes for runs like that as Lovett scampers off another 18-yard run.
You know, we don't have the actual statistic here with us, but I would dare say that each down we're getting close to 10 yards.
It would be interesting to see what our average number of yards per carry is tonight, because it's probably a very positive number. So just over 7.5 minutes to play. And it looks like Lovett is going to have the ball on the 27 for 1st and 10. And this time it's Russ in the shotgun with 2 receivers to his left. And it makes a lot of sense, but Lovett's going to run the ball again. And this time it's Henry Jones again. And maybe showing the fact that he hasn't gotten that many carries in games this year, he might be getting a little tired with the number of carries he's getting this game.
Yeah, and just in that last play, he got a couple of hands to the feet, but he stumbled, but he recovered, and he kept driving forward with the ball.
Right, and fortunately for Lovett, the clock keeps ticking. So inside of 7 minutes to play, 47-6, it is 2nd down and 7 on the 25. Russ in the shotgun with a receiver to each side. The ball is snapped, and it's a handoff again, and it's number 22 again. And it is another first down. And I'll tell you what, he's not the biggest guy out there, but he's running just as tough as anybody else, and he's finishing those runs by lowering his shoulders and trying to make an impact.
You know, you've got to feel for these Towers supporters out here in the stands. It's their senior night. They've come out here. They pretty much packed out the stands around the end of the first half.
Right, to their credit, they're still here cheering on their Titans, so kudos to them for that. But they're watching the Lovett Lions drive down the field again with just about 6 minutes to play, and 2nd down and 10. That should be 1st and 10 with the ball on the 14. It's another handoff for number 22. And again, he's running strong, and he's almost to the goal line before he's brought down.
And number 22, Henry Jones, he's looking almost like Stevie Bracey in the first half. Right here, they're both running the ball, like breaking through tackles.
Yeah, for a little guy, he's running hard. So
And that's what Muschamp likes to see when he rotates his players. He wants them to see, give them their all, and, you know, kind of give him concerns about who he wants to start.
Right, absolutely. I think that what they'll want to see is this second and third unit executing with the same sort of precision and discipline as that first unit. So the fact that they're able to drive the ball, the fact that they're able to get stops defensively is a real testament to the job there that both the coaches are doing and these reserve players who spend a lot of time practicing but not as much time in the varsity games. And of course, as soon as we compliment them for their execution, there appears to be a fumble. So we'll wait to see what the ruling is on the recovery. And it was a bad snap, and then at the exchange, it looked like Russ and Jones were not on the same page. But it looks like Lovett recovered the ball, and they're going to keep this drive alive. So Lovett has the ball on their own 7 with the goal to go. And again, they're in the shotgun formation with a single receiver to either side. And again, it's Henry Jones right up the middle. And he looks pretty close, and it is another score for the Lovett Lions. And once again, the Lovett offensive line is opening holes that you could drive a truck through. They have been dominant tonight. And once again, number 33, Bear Daniels, looks to tack on the extra point. The last one clanged off the upright, but this one is good. And it should bring the score to 54-6. Lovett with 4 minutes and 25 seconds left to play in the game. Just a reminder, Lovett will be back on the Riverbank next Friday for their homecoming game versus Stone Mountain, kicking off at 7:30 p.m. Be sure to come out, support your Lions, and make some noise.
You know, before this game, we were talking about Towers' results. They're 1-4 currently this season, and they played Westminster last week. And that final score was 51-6, and that's pretty close to what we're here right now, 54-6.
Right, if you're doing the comparison game, you wonder what it says about Lovett and arch rival Westminster. But I'm sure that Coach Muschamp wouldn't want us to spend too much time on that, and would rather that the Lovett players focus on their own efforts.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Ed. It looks like we're going to kick it down to Katie Freiberger with another interview on the sidelines.
Former cross-country coach, Coach King. So, Coach King, I understand your grandchildren are at Lovett. So, what is your favorite part about seeing them in their various activities?
I love watching them. It's very exciting in football and in cross-country.
So, I understand you're retired. So, what was your favorite part about coaching, and do you miss it?
I do miss it. I miss the girls, and I also miss, I used to make them magic cookies before neat games and plays, and I'd give them to them. I miss making that.
Thank you. Back to you guys.
Thank you.
I would be down for a magic cookie. Bennett, how about you?
I could use one right now.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of draining standing up here in the heat. It's still humid.
Yeah. So Coach Muschamp went back to the squib kick approach and went with the short one to one of the up men to prevent Towers being able to get the ball to one of their athletes in space, which is probably the right decision at this point in the game. That's the only way they've been able to generate any offense. And so to take that away, Lovett has got to feel pretty confident that they can just line up, punch him in the mouth, and end this game pretty quickly.
Yeah, we're just around 4.5 minutes on the clock here to follow the score by Lovett.
Right.
And we're going to see how, you know, I feel like we could call it here that I think it's safe to say Towers is not going to make a spectacular comeback, but it will be interesting to see how they will respond.
Way to go out on a limb there, Bennett. I think you're probably right, though. So there's a procedure call on Lovett. Oh, they're going to re-kick the ball. So it must not have traveled far enough in the eyes of the official, right? So Lovett will be forced back and made to re-kick the ball. So potentially the strategy backfired there as the attempt to kicked the ball short, ended up going too short. And this poses a question for the Lovett special teams coach. As far back as they are now, kicking off from the 35, will they try to boom the ball deep, potentially setting up a return, or will they kick it to one of the up men, potentially conceding Towers better field position? I'd take the field position as opposed to giving one of those guys the ball in space, personally.
Yeah, you've seen what they can do when they run. So I agree with you there.
And that answers that. Oh! So that got exciting, and it looked like the ball got jarred loose. Number 28, Parker Hammond, seems pretty confident that Lovett recovered the ball, but we have not seen an official ruling yet.
And here the refs are to deliberate about the ruling on the field.
And it looked like number 1 for Towers, instead of just catching the ball and taking a knee, was trying to make a play, and he may have put the ball on the ground. He exited the field with significant frustration and appears to have thrown his helmet.
And here we have a replay. It does look like the ball gets hit loose.
Yeah, it looks like MJ Greentree managed to put a hat on the ball and pop that thing loose.
And the ruling on the field is Lovett ball.
Correction, Bennett. I think that they just ruled that the Titans recovered the ball.
All right, we're getting mixed reports from the sidelines here. No problems with that.
So there are 3 minutes and 55 seconds left to play in the game, and Lovett leads Towers 54-6 here at Avondale Stadium. Towers is sticking with their shotgun formation, and you can be sure they're going to find one of their skill players in space. And they do, with Logan getting the ball to, who does that look like to you, Bennett?
I don't know. I was just focusing on the quarterback getting decked in the back there.
He
got
did
a hard,
get tattooed back there and looked like he might be a little bit the worse for wear, but credit to him. He's a gamer. He's been playing all night, and he's in there, and he's going to make a go of it. So that's a first down for the Titans with 3:14 to play. It looks like they'll have 1st and 10 on the 48. And again, it's a pass to nobody's surprise. Be interested. It looks like the pass was incomplete, just low and outside the arms of the intended receiver. That'll bring up 2nd down and 10 with the ball on the 48.
Hey, and I get this feeling we're on camera. Hey, down there.
Oh, nobody wants to see that.
Hey.
Yep. Hey.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So the clock keeps ticking. It's 2:36 left to play. 2nd and 10 on the 48 here in the 4th quarter. And were I a betting man, I would assume that Logan is going to throw the ball on this play. And he drops back and he throws it. A little bit of communication there as his receiver wasn't even looking for the ball when it was thrown to him.
Yeah, it just seemed like those two weren't on the same page.
Yeah, number 22, Elijah Hobson, was looking to curl upfield and had no idea that Logan was going to throw the ball to him. So it seems like a little bit of confusion. You imagine some frustration on the Tower sideline.
Now we have a 3rd down coming up, I believe, for Towers. And if we look at their stats, in the first half, they converted 2 of their 3rd downs.
Right, I'd imagine that this is 2-down territory for them. They've got nothing left to lose. They're under 2 minutes left to play. They're going to want to get in the end zone just to get a positive taste in their mouths at the end of this game. So I would expect them to try to get the ball to an athlete. And they do, not the way I anticipated, by letting their quarterback run the ball. But the officials blew a whistle quickly. Not sure if that was to protect the quarterback or, oh, no, it was an illegal substitution on the Lovett Lions. And that's not entirely unexpected when you've got a lot of players who don't play all the time coming in and out of the game. So sometimes the coaches are willing to put somebody in, and the athlete might not recognize that their time is up. So that's going to move the ball for Towers and improve their field position slightly. So once again in their spread formation, Logan's going to drop back, and again he's going to look long, and he's got his receiver, number 4, Shun Taylor.
And it looks to me like he just missed out on that touchdown. I think he went right outside of it. We got a replay.
Right, it looks like he stepped on the pylon, so his momentum carried him off over the sideline as opposed to the goal line, which has got to frustrate his coach. So we are inside of a minute to play. And the Towers Titans have the ball 1st and goal. And I imagine their quarterback keeps it here, and he's just going to run as the clock ticks. Yep. So this might have, nope, and they're going to hand it off, which has got to be a surprise, and they punch it in. Right, it looks like that is a touchdown for the Towers Titans. Yep. There's a great shot of the Lovett cheerleaders who've done a great job all evening, keeping the small but hardy Lovett contingent fired up and into the game.
And it looks like, I think that's number 28 on the Towers, who's having a little limp right there. I think he just ran it in the end zone and had a hard tackle. He's limping a little bit, though.
It looks like he's going to, well, now they're calling him off, and they're going to sub in number 22 for him.
Yep.
So there are 37.4 seconds left to play in the game. Lovett is up 54-12. Be interesting to see what Towers decides to do here. And it looks like they're going to go for 2, and why not? Some confusion on the sideline, and Towers is going to take a timeout. And credit to the Towers coaching staff that they're still working on some things, and they're going to take the opportunity to get this right. So there is 37.4 seconds left to play. Towers is setting up for a 2-point conversion, it appears. The score is 54-12.
Right.
And this will be a great opportunity for the Lions to work on their goal line defense and get these youngsters some reps in a look that they might not see normally outside of practice. And you can see a bit of confusion as the Lions sub in. They're all looking back at Coach Greer to make sure they've got their assignments right. So Gibbons in the shotgun, and he drops back, and it looks like he's going to throw the ball, and it's incomplete. So the conversion is no good, and the score remains 54-12. Lovett with 37.4 seconds to play.
Now we'd like to take it down to Katie Freiberger with an interview on the sidelines.
I'm here with Sports Information Manager, Miss Pope. So, Miss Pope, what's your favorite part about being behind the scenes of all the action at Lovett?
Well, I love mentoring students like you and our camera guys and the ones in the box. It's been really fun to help you nurture your interest for this area.
So where can we find and follow the various social media accounts at Lovett?
At Lovett Athletics. We're on Twitter and Instagram, on the story, on the feed. Follow us, and you can be up to date on all the sports at Lovett.
Perfect. Thank you. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Katie. Michelle does a great job on the Lovett Instagram and Twitter pages. And be sure to follow the adventures of the cross-country team this weekend as they go to the Great American Race in Cary, North Carolina. The girls' cross-country team has an authorized Instagram takeover, so no doubt it will be very exciting tomorrow as they participate in the Great American Race. So back to action, 37.4 seconds to play. Towers kicking off. Lovett deep to receive, and they're going to kick short as well. And it looks like that was number 42, Charlie Caldwell, who called for the fair catch. And you've got to imagine Lovett's going to play it pretty conservatively right here.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 37 seconds left in the game. I think Coach Muschamp just wants to close it out.
Right, unless they want to generate some
sound.
bad blood for next year. There's no reason to score here.
And we were talking before the game about the couple injuries for Lovett, like Andrew Pinkston and Goldberg. And although you could say they were missed, although the guy stepped up tonight.
Right, I think it was interesting. We worried about the absence of the defensive backs and who would fill their shoes. And really what happened was it was the play of that defensive line that harried the Towers quarterback all night. So he never got his rhythm, was unable to find his receivers, and those talented athletes weren't really able to be called upon by the Towers offense. So we've been saying it all night, but credit to the Lovett offensive and defensive lines for what was a dominant display tonight. And that's going to do it tonight, folks, as the final horn sounds on what is a 54-12 Lovett victory over Towers High School. This brings Lovett to 1-1 in region play and sets them up for their homecoming game with Stone Mountain next week. Coach Muschamp will be happy with this game as they seem to get through it relatively uninjured. And a lot of kids on the bench got a lot of valuable minutes. So all in all, a very dominant display by the Lovett Lions. Yeah.
So here we have a couple key replays from the game.
Right, this is one of the early runs in the first quarter, and it highlighted the dominant display by the offensive line. And there's Henry Beery going over that right guard, right tackle, and taking the ball for a long run. Special thanks to everyone behind the scenes at Lovett, including Katie Johnson, Assistant Athletic Director, Betsy James, Amanda Stibbs, Greg Hamrick, Jim Clausen, John Jarakidis, Mary Jarakidis, Rachel Best, Alan Goodwin, Lily Siegel, Brandon Holmes, Alec Cowenberg, Bennett Cowenberg, Avi Daftari, Katie Freiberger, Tyler Lamberson, Madison Peavy, Grace Schneider, Jordan Siegel, David Hayes, Todd Woodruff, Randy Brightman. Yep. Thank you, everybody. Great job on tonight's telecast. We apologize for the technical difficulties.
And we'd like to take this time to thank our sponsors, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, Center State Bank, Atlantic Grill, Melwood Springs Natural Spring Water, Play It Again Sports, Concord Pharmacy, and the Metro Atlanta YMCA.
Linebackers, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, the steak dinner done right. Center State Bank, bank smart, bank local. Melwood Springs Natural Spring Water. Atlantic Grill, your neighborhood grill. Play It Again Sports Buckhead, your neighborhood sporting goods store. Concord Pharmacy, when you have your health, you have everything. The Metro Atlanta YMCA, here for Atlanta, here for good. And by ESC Networks.